out in Laramie.
Whatever. That's modern-day basketball. Free from the right side. Good. That's B.J. Davis right there.
Where does it put them for the Mountain West Tournament? We react to all of it now with Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego, Southern California, what's going on? This is Hour 1, Jon and Jim. We've got a really good show lined up for you today with great giveaways. Guess who returns to San Diego Sports 760? And by returns, I mean he's actually been here each of the last 2 weekends as well. Our good friend Darren Smith will join the show at 4:30. Now, when I left the studio on Saturday, you were at Snapdragon Stadium for San Diego FC's debut. I was driving home from postgame. And I was listening to Adrian Garcia Marquez with Darren, and I thought they did a spectacular job. I tuned in briefly for the opener, and I tuned in for 30 minutes this past Saturday. And the back and forth was excellent. I mean, Adrian Garcia Marquez's play-by-play, his sound is unbelievable. And then Darren's commentary and just knowledge was incredible. I just thought it was such a good duo. It was such a good listen. And you know me, I mean, I'm not a diehard soccer fan per se, but I really did enjoy the commentary, and it sounded good. I got home. It looked good. I know you were there. And we'll get into the Aztecs. We'll get into San Diego FC. We'll get into the Padres. But what a cool Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium for SDFC. You know, scoreless draw, okay. But just the ambiance and the experience and everything that went into it. It just looked spectacular. It sounded great here on San Diego Sports 760.
I agree. The broadcast, the first two matches have sounded amazing. Adrian and Darren have been great. And you said this to me. What Adrian does really well is he makes the match seem so big.
I thought I was listening to like a World Cup match. Right. I'm not kidding when I say that. It just sounds the part. Both of them together sound the part. Like that's the highest compliment you can give someone in that industry. Like if it just sounds right, it just sounds. You can't figure out necessarily as to why, but it just sounds really good.
Yeah, so Adrian and Darren, fantastic job. We'll talk to Darren today at 4:30. Jake Zivin at 2:30, and then Kevin Acee at 3. But Saturday night, so I get there around 4:30. Like I'm there early.
Why so late?
I know. I get there early, and the tailgate lots were full. I guess the activation zone outside Snapdragon Stadium, there was like live music, there was food trucks, there was concession stands, there was merchandise stands. That was all packed. The vibe at 4:30 for the match, already you could tell, all right, this is going to be big time. You know, there were a ton of fans there 3 hours before the start of the match.
Sure.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I get it. I get in, go up to the press box, and good on San Diego FC. They I'll tell you what, you know, they did a really good job with all of the behind the scenes things, with all the little details, with all like a little detail that I thought was pretty cool is at every single media member's seat in the press box, they had special like cookies that were decorated with the SDFC logos. They had everybody got scarves. Everybody got a piece of paper that described like how important the home opener is and what their core values were. And I just thought like everything from the down to the little details was really good. And then the match starts, and I didn't know what to expect. I really didn't. I knew that it was going to be a electric crowd. I knew that they were going to get, that place full to the last seat. Most fans for a sporting event ever in that stadium's history. 34,506, I think it was. I think the exact number is that.
You were one of them.
I was one of them. Well, was I one of them? Because do I count?
Yeah, you should count, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But I go down to the supporters section, and to be fair, like I've been to a couple soccer matches in my life, but I've never sat in a supporters section before. And I decided I'm going in the teeth of it. I'm going down in there, and I want to see what it's like. It's wild, man. It is wild. Those supporters were the match wasn't even started. It's like 40 minutes to opening kick, and you're like, they're just making noise. They're waving flags. They're doing their chants. They're banging the drums. And then you get to 7:30. and all of a sudden the lights go off and the crowd starts erupting. And then all of a sudden Manny Machado walks out there with, I think it was a soccer ball, like the logo. And everyone's going crazy and everyone has the lights from their phones on. And it was just like the fireworks go off and you're like, whoa, this was like, it's cool to be in attendance for the first of something.
Hey, Manny, a little less lifting soccer balls and a little more hitting the postseason. I'm kidding.
Oh, you said it, not me.
Here's the one. What's the segment called, Brent, where I go on like a soliloquy? We never do it. And I don't want to play right now, but what's the thing called where I like John's front page or whatever?
Oh, Johnisms.
John, and I want to ask Darren about this at 4:30. I'm going to be super critical right now of St. Louis. So you come here in a home debut and you decide we'll do everything in our power to leave here scoreless. We will do everything possible to not try to score a goal, but in that effort, we will not allow a goal. I watched this entire thing. I mean, I listened to Darren for 30 minutes with Adrian Garcia Marquez. I watched the entire second half. Like, there were no scoring opportunities because all St. Louis did was put 11 guys back there and try not to allow a goal. They had no desire to score for like the entire match. They've played 2 matches. There have been no goals in either of their matches. It's like, let's live a little. San Diego only gets 1 home debut. I thought SDFC showed well. They did everything in their power to score, but what are you supposed to do when the opposition doesn't afford you that opportunity? That was my one criticism, and it was of like the opposition. Like, let's play this thing like true or fair. Like, you're going to come here for their first ever match, and you're going to do everything in your power to not score, which then gives you a chance to not allow a goal. I personally didn't love that just watching it, but I mean, it looked spectacular. The field looked great. Snapdragon Stadium is just a great soccer venue.
It
looks terrific on television. And, SDFC should be thrilled with the fact that they've got a win and a draw. Now, Chucky Lozano is another story, him leaving the match. But
those are the bad things, John.
I'd love to hear from people that were there. I mean, what was the experience like for you? 877-767-4760 or text us 70470. Start it with the word team. But I think all things considered, the start that SDFC has had, the win in Los Angeles, followed by a sellout crowd at Snapdragon on a gorgeous Saturday night. I don't think you could ask for much more.
Yeah, it's one of those. I was talking to Darren after the game. We are still trying to learn the game.
100%. Yeah. Full admission.
We are not going to come on here and be like, oh my gosh, they packed the box, whatever.
Well, do you agree though with my assessment as like a casual, like, you basically didn't give San Diego a chance to do anything because you just decided to defend the ball the entire time and not try to score. That's what it seemed like from a casual perspective. Did it not seem like that? In fact, on TV, they said the same thing. It's like, well, St. Louis is just content to not score, but they're content also to not allow a goal.
Yeah. This is professional sports. So I think going out there, if you're a team trying to do something that you're not accustomed to doing, just because it's the home opener, the first ever match at home for San Diego FC, that's not professional sport. You're supposed to go out there and do what you are supposed to do, regardless of the situation. Who cares? The San Diego FC, I'm sure for the home opener for Galaxy, they're like, oh, well, they're getting their ring, so let's just lay down and let everybody, all Galaxy fans celebrate their MLS Cup. Like, no, they went up there to ruin the party, and they did that. Same thing with St. Louis.
But they didn't really go there to ruin the party, I guess. They kind of played like
conservative,
like party poopers.
Well, yeah, but that's their game.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what I mean? So like,
I don't know what their game is, but I guess it was.
But the term that I learned from Darren was parking the bus, which essentially means packing in the box and making it damn near impossible for the other team to score.
Does it mean putting a bus literally in front of the goal?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, because that's basically what they did.
Yeah. So anyway, like we're going to talk to Jake Zivin and Darren more about the match. I just think the atmosphere for me, if you are a casual wanting to check this out, not really knowing like what to expect, I think more people than not are now going to be hooked. I was talking to some people there that weren't big soccer fans, but decided they wanted to come to this match. They wanted to see it. They immediately bought jerseys and they had scarves and hats. And I was talking to them. They're like, this is amazing. And I'm hooked now. And I think that first match at home with just the atmosphere and the pageantry before the match, and the fireworks and the chanting, and I was very curious to see after halftime the retention for how many fans were going to still be there. And again, I haven't been to many soccer matches before, but I mean, 78th minute, I tweeted about it. 78th minute in that match, that place was still full, and I loved it.
Here's my hot take. I think for all of their matches this year, they'll draw 30,000 plus. And I did not a deep dive, but I clicked on Ticketmaster on a few of the games. Like, they have 16 matches remaining. We'll get your calls. 877-767-4760 if you were there or you were watching, or 70470 start with team. I clicked on 5 matches. There's not a lot of tickets available.
No.
I didn't click on all 16. And there's some friendlies in there. So I don't know what those draws will be. I'm just saying that the MLS matches, and a majority of these are on Saturday nights, I'd say they've got a chance to sell out a ton of them, and I think they have an excellent chance to draw 30,000 plus for every match they play from now until the end of the season, which is a credit to them. So I don't think it's going to be a one-time thing. I don't think it's just, hey, let's check it out. It's the home opener, and then I'm going to go back into my home and never come again. I think that they're going to consistently draw, and that's really encouraging for an expansion franchise. I don't know if they're going to win. That's a whole other conversation, but I think they will consistently draw. Let's go to the phones here. Edward, let's start with Edward on line 4. 877-767-4760. Edward was in the building, and he's on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in, man.
Hey, man. Hey, guys. Good afternoon. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
Yes, I got my ticket, and I'm glad I did. I got it about a month and a half ago for substantially less than what they were going for on the secondary market the day of. It was a great experience, guys. I've lived overseas, and I do want to share something with San Diegans. This game to me felt like a Serie A second division team for the atmosphere. What I mean by that is, in Italy, guys, Serie A soccer is religion. The city shuts down. Everything revolves around the team. This had that atmosphere. Everything from the people, and I was listening. I was around people that are non-soccer fans, and they were gung-ho about it. Everybody was gung-ho. I can tell you guys one thing, and I'll make it quick. Winning does wonders. If we can get this team to win, be a consistent winner, guys, I guarantee you, we got something really, really nice here. It was really nice to see it.
I should turn my mic on. Edward, appreciate you, man. Glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, winning cures everything, but I think year one, I don't even know if you have to win, truthfully. I think eventually you have to win.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the expectation from day one is you have to win.
I think their approach to this first season is the right approach, which is we're going to do everything in our power to try to be as exciting as possible and put the pressure on our opponents
right
every single match. And now, again, they didn't score, but they did lose arguably their best player in the 8th minute of the match in Chucky, and that is going to be an issue. But they still put on pressure the entire match. They did the exact same thing against Galaxy, and I think having that approach, Mikey Varas talked about it at the end of the game, like scoring a goal in soccer, professional soccer, is like the hardest thing to do, and putting the pressure on when they can, as much as they can, is a strategy that I appreciate.
Yeah, again, it's like it's not their fault when there's not an opportunity because of your opponent.
Right.
That's what it seemed like, at least watching in the second half. We'll get back to your calls on the other side. Padres, a rare spring training off day. Kevin Acee will join us coming up today at 3 p.m. Yeah, Kevin's going to join us coming up at 3 p.m. Jake Zivin called the match on MLS Season Pass. He'll join us at 2:30. Darren Smith called the match right here on San Diego Sports 760. He'll join us coming up at 4:30. Great giveaways today as well. Just getting started. It's Jon and Jim. All right, we do have a 4-pack of tickets to the Shamrock Music and Beer Festival. We'll give away here today. We're here until 6. We have a really good show lined up. Darren Smith back on San Diego Sports 760. He will join us coming up at 4:30. Jake Zivin called this match for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. He'll join us at 2:30. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, will join us at 3. It is a Padres off day. Before we get to the Padres, let's go back to the phones. If you want to weigh in, maybe you were there Saturday night, maybe you were watching, your thoughts, 877-767-476. Let's go to Hector on line 3. Hector, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in, man.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. First off, props to Jim Russell for that great question he asked the commissioner.
Oh, yeah.
Really, did you really?
I did ask him a question.
What'd you ask?
I asked, what did I ask him? Something.
Great. Great question.
I asked him about the atmosphere.
It was good. It was almost as good as Tony Sanchez. But yeah, I was going to agree with you guys. Pretty much, yeah. Once the very first play of the game, San Diego had a chance to score right off the bat, and Chucky Lozano couldn't control it. But I think after that play, St. Louis was like, okay, we're going to settle for the draw here. And like you guys said, they parked the bus. And yeah, the atmosphere was awesome. I'm glad at least Jim could make it. I know you were working, John. But yeah, the next home game is going to be big, man. The fans are going to be really excited. Columbus Crew has a great record, winning championships, and they got a great tradition. So hopefully you can make it for that one, John.
Hector, I appreciate the call. Here's the thing. I will absolutely make it. The issue with the first 2 home games is it's San Diego State basketball season. So They played in Laramie. Mm-hmm. Then this Saturday is senior night, which you can hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. That'll be at the same time as San Diego FC in Salt Lake. And then March 15th, let's hope the Aztecs can get to an 8th consecutive Mountain West Championship game, because that would also be on Saturday in Las Vegas 2 weeks from now. That's the next time SDFC is at home. So this is an exciting time because a lot's going on. Thankfully, when you're in San Diego, there's not always a lot going on, but there is a lot going on right now.
It felt like, with the Padres, boring spring training so far, like really nothing.
Yeah, never that they're typically thrilling spring trainings. Maybe it's the first spring training for Manny Machado, so you're excited. This is 2019, or the first for Blake Snell, so you're excited.
Yeah,
but you're right. This year doesn't have that at all either.
It has felt pretty boring to me. Not a lot going on. Not much, not many storylines coming out of spring training. You're sitting here just saying, get to the regular season, please.
Yep.
And with that, I do think, this is just my own perspective, I do think that Saturday night's game for San Diego FC really took the forefront of every sports fan, or most sports fans, mind here in San Diego, like San Diego sports fans, that it wasn't along the lines of like, oh, is there a soccer match going on? It was like, hey, are you going to the match? Like, hey, like, we're going. Are you going? I got a lot of people asking me on social media, like, hey, Jim, are you going to the match? You going to the match? And I think the excitement of something new in this town, like, I love new. I just do. I love seeing new things. And if this is new sports, I'm all for it.
Sure.
And I think that's what a lot of sports fans in San Diego felt as well. The amount of stuff I saw on social media from people that I never knew were either into soccer or whatnot, being at that game, just spoke to the curiosity of a lot of sports fans here in San Diego.
And I would go beyond that. That was my point from the first segment, which is I think they'll consistently draw all year long. I just think, based on everything we've heard, how many season tickets that they've sold, the community that we live in, where this, I don't know anything about Minnesota United, but I would imagine San Diego runs circles around the soccer community of Minneapolis, St. Paul. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, San Diego is such a good market for this that you don't have to sell it. Now, there's some people you might have to sell it to. There are casual sports fans that maybe you want to make into SDFC fans. But here's the thing. I don't even know how many you're going to need. To me, it's a little bit like the NHL. If you've ever been an NHL fan, you could sell out a building every single night in the NHL. You don't need 1 million NHL fans in Anaheim. You need a hardcore 20K. You don't need 1 million in Philadelphia, but the Flyers have 20,000 fans each and every night, right? So it's like, I think you would take the 1 million fans, and maybe they will have 1 million fans. But if you've got 35,000 diehards in a place like San Diego, I see it as pretty reasonable. You have 35,000 diehards. You don't need more than that to consistently sell out Snapdragon Stadium.
And we'll get to the chant later this hour, which happened at the end of that match. But you're right. I think the built-in fan base already with this club is already big enough
Yeah, what more do you need?
to have this club have a sustained amount of fans every single home match.
That's the thing.
And I'm not going to say it's like starting an expansion franchise in hockey in Canada.
No,
but,
I get, yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're starting an expansion franchise in a city that, soccer runs deep, and you already have a built-in soccer community in this town,
Sure,
ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and even two cities, and I know Tijuana has its own club, but I mean, San Diego, Tijuana population base is massive. Yeah, and they're within 20-something miles of each other. I mean, it does. My point is, it really doesn't have to be overly sold. I think it's kind of an if you build it, they will come situation. You don't have to overly market this because it's already there for the taking. People have been waiting for this. You don't have to go sell them on it. Now that you've brought it, you just need to, with time, hopefully prove that you're capable of winning on field. But I don't even think they need to do that from day one. Truthfully, I do. Now, again, I'd prefer it. I don't want to see them go 6-28, whatever the average of that would be. You know what I mean? But I don't think there's some prerequisite to win, like the Padres who are 56 years in have a prerequisite to win right now.
Look, I can say this with confidence right now. Going to the first home match, seeing the crowd, the atmosphere, the vibe, everything, like I'm in. I'm in. I am fully in. I can't wait to go to a match just as a fan, because I went as a member of the media on Saturday, and I can't wait to see the journey that this club takes in the next couple months, and how it's going to look, in July and August, right? Like, what's it going to look like then? But as of right now, to me, like, I'm in 100%.
Yeah, and I would like to know what percent of their ticket base or those that attend matches are coming from Mexico to attend. I'm curious about that. Jake Zivin, MLS season pass. He called the match. He'll join us next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Hamul Casino. We'll start with the Aztecs coming off their win on the road against Wyoming. No thanks to the awful referees. They'll take on UNLV tomorrow night in Las Vegas, 8 p.m. tip time, 7 p.m. pregame. You can listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. San Diego Football Club, their home opener on Saturday night. It was a scoreless draw against St. Louis SC. They did pick up a point, though. Their next match will be Saturday night in Salt Lake. 6:30 is when the match will start. And moving over to the NFL today, T. Higgins. He's been franchise tagged by the Cincinnati Bengals for the second straight year. Hey, players, things are about to get real here in San Diego with the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. Gorgeous boutique rooms and suites, exciting new eats and drinks, and a rooftop pool. It gets real this summer at Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
All right, I'm very curious right now as Jake Zivin has basically become a friend of the show. He's been with us each week throughout this MLS season.
He's going to replace Darnay Tripp.
Yeah, Darnay, you hear that? You've been replaced. We kid. Jake called this match on MLS Season Pass, Apple TV. I'm curious, Jake, because I'm assuming have you been at all these MLS venues over the years, or how many have you called matches from? Most of them, right?
Yeah. All but one. That in Minnesota's new stadium is the only one I haven't been to.
So that's my question. Like, how does it, just from an atmosphere perspective, from a crowd perspective, stadium perspective, how did San Diego stack up for you on Saturday night? And thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, of course. First of all, I'm not taking Darnay Tripp's spot.
Yes,
no way. That's my guy. No way. I'll say this, man. The buzz down on the field before the game was awesome. And Taylor and I are standing there, and we did a live hit for MLS 360. And Manny Machado is a few feet away. Mohamed Mansour and the ownership group are walking around the field. It just felt like a really big time moment and a big environment. The crowd was great throughout the game. Obviously, disappointing. It's been well covered, and the club, Mikey Virus talked about it right after the game. The chant, there's no space for that in this game. Trying to get that out of our game. But if you put that aside, and I wouldn't let that mar what was a great night for Snapdragon Stadium, a great night for San Diego FC.
What did you think of the on the field play? Like, we are new to this game, Jake, and hearing about Salt Lake St. Louis and how they play, it just kind of felt like they weren't giving San Diego Football Club any chance to get a goal in their home opener.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? If you're new to soccer, there's different approaches to this game, and some teams will come out. We like to kind of say, come out and play. And San Diego are one of those teams. They want to have the ball. They want to combine. They want to build in possession. They're not going to be direct all the time, right? But they are gonna want to try to build and be more positive, you could say, in their football, in their soccer. St. Louis City, their strategy on Saturday night was to be very defensive. Taylor Twelman, my broadcast partner, joked last night. We were doing Sunday Night Soccer in Houston, and he joked that St. Louis City, are going to drive their bus from San Diego right up to LA because they play the Galaxy next week on Sunday Night Soccer. We're doing their next game as well. So there's a term in soccer, parking the bus. And that's when you just get really defensive and you kind of put everybody behind the ball. You try to be difficult to break down. You know that you're not going to have as many attacking opportunities, but you hope you can take advantage of the one or two that you do have. And you also hope that, you don't concede, right? Because you make it really difficult for the opponent. St. Louis, that was closer to their mindset, of course. And a frustrated San Diego. Look, San Diego's got some talented players. There's going to be now the next question, the next evolution is, how do they break down a team that does what St. Louis does, that just sits back and defends? Because despite a lot of shots and all the possession, there weren't a ton of really threatening moments for St. Louis City and for their goalkeeper, Roman Berkey. So that's kind of the next step. And you're going to see, and people new to the game, you're going to see some teams approach San Diego like St. Louis did. Some approach them like the Galaxy did, where, again, they're more trying to play the game. And I think maybe San Diego will have better luck, maybe not better luck, but better results against teams that are going to come out and try to play.
Jake Zivin, MLS Season Pass, called this match on Apple TV the home opener for San Diego FC. Now, I want to say that either on Saturday or maybe last week, when you were calling the match up in LA, you talked about how San Diego, you look at what they're able to put on the field, but it'll be interesting to see how they deal with the depth or lack thereof as an expansion team. And now they lose Chucky Lozano in their second match. We'll see if it's short term or long term, but how significant of a loss is it? Not just because it's Chucky, but because as an expansion side, they're not going to have the depth of some of these other clubs.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's, I think, exactly what I said after the win over the Galaxy. They proved to everybody that their starting 11, their main group, are going to be competitive in the Western Conference. They're not a last place team in the West. However, it's a long season, and you always have to deal with injuries and absences. And that's going to be kind of another question for San Diego. And I didn't expect it to be 30 minutes into their second game when we'd have to find out. Obviously, Chucky is a big loss if he's not in the field for, as you said, for however long that'll be. We don't know. Boateng comes on. He's a veteran, and it's a great story because he came from the Right to Dream Academy in Ghana and then came to the United States to play college soccer and has had a long MLS career. But he's not Chucky. And particularly against the teams like St. Louis, teams that are going to be really defensive and sit back and try to absorb, you need your special player. You need your creative guy like Chucky who can maybe break somebody down, make something kind of happen on his own. So it's a big loss, of course. And now we're going to see how San Diego and Mikey Varas deal with it. Though I will say what was impressive, I think, to us is that no matter who's been on the field for San Diego, the style's the same, and it feels like they're still able to combine pretty well, and they're still able to possess pretty well and do what they want to do. And that isn't always true, even of the best MLS teams. Sometimes, the depth is tested and they have to change their style of play. But for San Diego, even when the substitutes come on, even when Boateng comes on for Chucky, it still looks like a group that's been playing together for a long time. And that's certainly credit to Mikey Varas and credit to everybody at San Diego.
So we'll get to the end of the match here. And I was in the press box here, Jake.
Oh, must be nice.
It was nice, Sean. Maybe if you would. But anyway, I did not know what was going on. I'm as casual as they come to this, and I don't know the history of this chant. And so it took me talking to some people to really try to understand it. In the moment, did you know exactly what was going on, and what was your take on this? And I guess going forward, how do you, I guess, combat this chant if you're San Diego FC?
Yeah, look, you start there. How do you combat it is something that has been difficult for whether it be CONCACAF, whether it be MLS teams, Liga MX teams for a long time. And there's a protocol there, and we didn't get past step one in the protocol, which is the verbal warnings on the board. I don't even know if that's technically step one. I think that's technically the warning for step one. Step one would be stop the game. And there's been U.S.-Mexico games in the past where the game is stopped and everybody comes to midfield for 2 to 5 minutes. Nothing's happening. And then they go on and then they play again. And if it continues, they'll bring everybody into the locker room. And then the next step, which I don't think it's happened yet in the game that I'm aware of, they'll abandon the game. It's difficult, right? And as you said, look, I totally understand that there are different meanings for that word and different intentions for that word. My opinion on it is and always has been, if it's offensive to a large group of people, which it clearly is, everybody collectively should be decent human beings and stop saying it. Use a different word. There's plenty of words you could chant at a goalkeeper that aren't going to offend a group of people, whether you mean to or not. And so that's always been my stance. That's how I feel about it. I don't think there's a place for it in the game. And hopefully, we can all collectively continue to get it out of the game.
So what's the key here, Jake, as we move forward? I mean, for San Diego, like you said, it's a long year. It's like when you get all excited about what happens on opening day. You're like, well, the Marlins won on opening day. It doesn't mean they're going to win more than 50 games. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then again, there's teams that lose on opening day and win 110 games. So, what are the keys for San Diego, I guess, in the medium term over the next 3 to 5 matches to kind of sustain a level of success if they don't have Chucky, or just in general?
I think there's going to be there's less variation to soccer than baseball, right? In the sense of I do, and I said this last week, and I still believe it. That opening day, that in LA, like that showed San Diego are here to be competitive. That doesn't mean they're going to win MLS Cup. And the Galaxy went and they lost their second game in Vancouver. They've got issues, no doubt about it. Big issues. They just got to kind of figure things out, how to be their best selves in 2025. But it was a statement from San Diego that I still do think is important and is indicative of what this team will be. Honestly, if the nights were flipped, if it was a scoreless draw opening night and then 1-2-0 in their home opener, you could think, jury's still out, because the home opener, the big crowd, that has spurred some bad teams, really bad teams, to really big wins on that one night, and then they struggle the rest of the year. But I don't think that that's going to be San Diego at all. But yeah, now the question right now facing them is how to deal without Chucky. And then I think more holistically, how to create a little bit more with their possession, a little bit more dangerous attacking moments. Because, you look at they scored 2 goals. One was by design with their pressure. And they took advantage of a mistake and they scored. The second one was on a counterattack when the Galaxy were pushing everybody forward to try to find an equalizing goal, because it didn't really matter to the Galaxy if they lose 1-0 or 2-0, right? If you're down the end of the game at home, you're pushing forward, and then there's so much room behind. And it was a beautifully executed counterattack by San Diego, no doubt about it. So it's not discrediting the 2 goals they scored, but I do think that what people will want to see is their ability to just, in the kind of regular run of play, in their style, in all this pretty beautiful possession that they show in the midfield and combinations, to turn that into goals, right, in the final third, which we haven't seen yet. So to me, that's kind of the next step. Marcus Ingvartsen, their number 9, their striker, haven't really seen him. He got one shot away from distance. He struck pretty well against St. Louis, but that's kind of it so far. He had a moment he probably should have taken better, which was a header right in front of goal. Like, maybe he could have finished that. Want to see a little more from him as well, especially without Chucky. So I think that's kind of the one of the things now to see from San Diego that could portend a little bit more midterm and longer term success, is creating more danger, more really threatening moments out of their possession.
Jake, we've enjoyed having you on the call for these first 2 matches. I assume you'll call the next 32 as well.
That's what it is, right? And this is a weekly segment now, right?
Yeah.
I saw the tweet. I thought you guys were with the rundown of the show. I thought you had me on to talk about John Cena's heel turn. So I was ready to go for that.
Jim would love to.
Look, if you want to talk about that, because John has no idea who John Cena is. We could do that.
Yeah.
We could.
It happened during our game, I think, while we were on the air, and I was spoiled by halftime.
Yes,
so it was. I could not avoid.
I wonder if he did it because of the SDFC St. Louis City match.
It could have been. He said something. We need some excitement here.
Exactly.
Let me do something to spice things up.
Jake, we appreciate it, man. Continued success throughout the course of the year. We appreciate it. We'll do it again.
Of course. Great to check. I think.
Jake Zivin, MLS season pass. All right, we spoke on. What do you got?
I was gonna say he might replace Darnay.
Well, I think he already has.
Oh, that's true.
If you follow us on social media. Mikey Varas is the head coach of San Diego FC. We just talked about these chants that were occurring throughout this match. Mikey Varas chimed in. Afterwards, you'll hear what he had to say about it. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He'll join us coming up at 3 p.m. We've got Shamrock Music and Beer Festival tickets to give away here until 6. Jon and Jim. right, so Kevin Acee is going to join us in 10 minutes from Peoria, off day, so I figured I'd bother him. Because the Padres are off, but let's have Kevin on.
Right.
Jackson Merrill homers. Manny Machado played on a
business.
backfield. Yeah, he said they have unfinished business.
Yeah.
He was in San Diego this weekend. Is that a bad look? I'm kidding. Okay, we'll hear from Mikey Varas postgame. He started his postgame press conference with a statement related to these chants. These, I think, is it fair to say homophobic chants?
They're describing it as discriminatory.
They also said homophobic language.
Okay.
Here, let me read. They just put out a statement within the last 2 minutes, and then we'll hear from Mikey Varas. This is what the club has just said about these chants that happened at Snapdragon Stadium on Saturday night, which, to be honest, I was completely oblivious to watching on TV. The only thing that made me unoblivious, which isn't a word, is I heard over the PA, like in the 80th and 90th minute range, they kept saying, like, if these chants continue, this match could be like forfeited. Right. Like what chant? Like something along those lines. Yep. Anyway, the statement that was just put out within the last 5 minutes, SDFC has released the following joint statement on behalf of club ownership and management. What took place during our first ever home match does not reflect who we are as a club or the values we stand for. The sport of football brings people together, and in San Diego, that inclusive spirit thrives. The use of homophobic language in our stadium is completely unacceptable and will not be tolerated. San Diego FC is built on respect and the belief that soccer is for everyone. We are committed to fostering an environment where all fans, players, and staff feel safe and welcome. We will take immediate steps to address this behavior and will communicate a detailed plan prior to the next home match. So that's within the next 2 weeks. So they'll have a plan in place to prevent what occurred on Saturday night from occurring again a week from Saturday night.
Full disclosure, I had no clue what was going on in the moment. I think people, at Snapdragon knew from the second they were hearing the chant, and there are a lot of people probably that didn't know what was going on. I honestly thought when the scoreboard lit up with the announcement and then over the PA, I thought it was one of those moments in the match where you just, like, it's like set every match to like say this,
right? Like you can't reproduce this Padres game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball, because we've seen that at baseball games where they announce, "Hey, if you see any actions in the crowd that you deem to be disrespectful or not, like please contact and report it. Don't throw anything on the field or something like that."
So I thought this was almost like a PSA type of thing, and then they kept flashing it and they kept talking about it over the PA, and then I really started to think to myself, all right, what's going on here? And to be honest with you, I didn't hear it one time. Maybe because I wasn't listening for it, so I didn't know. And I was right next to the supporter section, and from being as close to I was to the supporter section, it kind of felt like it was drowning that out from my vantage point.
And was it in English or Spanish?
From what I've gathered, it was in Spanish.
And you don't know Spanish, do you?
I do not.
So that's the thing.
Yes.
So you know what I mean? So like there's going to be certain chanting in other languages, right, that you and I would not be familiar with because we don't know other languages.
Yeah, it was in Spanish.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons why I did not know what was going on. And then I didn't think it was a big deal because I didn't know what was happening until I go down to the press conference and hear San Diego Football Club's Mikey Varas open up the press conference with this statement.
I just want to start with a statement that the chant that was heard tonight is unacceptable. It's outside of our values system. It doesn't represent the players, myself, the club, and it certainly doesn't represent San Diego or Baja California. It's not a reflection of who we are. We're a community full of love, support, and we believe in the power of diversity. I want to make sure that everybody knows that it was not from our main supporter group, La Frontera. They match the same values as us. They believe the same as us. They are our teammates. This came from more the general population in the seats, and it wasn't everybody, and I understand that, but it was loud enough that it was enough people, and I just want to make it really clear it has no place here. It has no place here, and if they're going to continue to come to the game and make that chant, it's better that they do not come.
That's a strong statement. Honestly, I would have let it end right there. I don't think the club needed to go further than that. Having a PR background, the further that you allow this story to continue, like you put it in the news an extra day when you put out a statement.
Mhm.
I don't think they needed to. Nobody's blaming the club. The club is not responsible, in my opinion, for what's occurring in the stands. Now you can try to negate it. They put the messaging up. You heard from the head coach immediately after the match.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, and maybe they'll have a plan in place. I think that makes a lot of sense. But like, it's not on the club. I mean, that's a strong statement. He made the statement.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think, because I've been seeing this a good amount, do you think the end of this match with those chants and then the statement from the club, do you think at all that affected, I guess, the vibe of the night? Like, did it end on a sour note?
I honestly, I would have unequivocally said no, but the more that it's brought to my attention, the more I'd be willing to change my tune. He made a very strong statement. That is the head coach of the team immediately after the match. That speaks for itself, in my opinion. I don't think anything beyond that is necessary in the short term.
I just don't want San Diego Football Club's fans being labeled because of what Mikey Varr said, what was from rogue general fans,
yeah,
right? It was not from their supporters. The majority of the crowd wasn't chanting it, but it was loud enough that it could be heard. I don't want that label to be put on them because I think that's unfair. And I think that the fans were chanting that it was unacceptable. And clearly it is something in the soccer community that is unacceptable. And it got to a point where the club has had to release multiple statements. So, if the club and Mikey Vargas and supporters, if they are viewing this, and again, I'm just like, if they're viewing this as something that is not meant for the game, there's no place for it in the game, and it is a derogatory or homophobic chant, then absolutely that needs to be stopped like right now.
Yeah, 100% to within their power, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, if it was me, if I would have let what Mikey Varr said Saturday night speak for itself, because I thought that was a very strong statement. And then if you want to have some new protocols in place for the next match, just prior to the next match, say, hey, by the way, we've changed some protocols as well, and here's what they are as it relates to what happened in our home debut. All right, Kevin Acee is going to join us on the other side from Peoria. It is a Padres off day. We are 24 days out from Padres opening day. Manny Machado back in camp. He's been dealing with back tightness. Jackson Merrill homered yesterday. The latest from Peoria on the other side. Darren Smith will join us at 4:30. He was on the call with Adrian Garcia Marquez right here on San Diego Sports 760. We'll get his thoughts on Saturday night coming up at 4:30. Hour 2, Jon and Jim next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Jamul Casino. We'll start with the Aztecs getting a 3-point win over Wyoming on the road. No thanks to the awful referees. Next up, they'll take on UNLV tomorrow night in Las Vegas, 8 p.m. tip time, 7 p.m. pregame. Listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. San Diego Football Club in their home opener against St. Louis. It was a scoreless draw. They picked up a point. Next up, they'll take on Salt Lake on Saturday night. 6:30 p.m. is when the match will start. And NFL news of the day, wide receiver T. Higgins has been franchise tagged by the Bengals for the second straight year. Hey, players, things are about to get real here in San Diego with the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. Gorgeous boutique rooms and suites, exciting new eats and drinks, and rooftop pool. It gets real this summer at Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place.
San Diego FC with their first game at home.
I like what I'm seeing from Mikey Bottas' side. An identity is being formed. It's an aggressive team. They're going to hunt.
A scoreless tie at Snapdragon, but 35,000 plus took over the stadium. Can the Padres solve the spring training blues? And the Aztecs get a big win out in Laramie.
Whatever. That's modern day basketball. Free from the right side. Good. That's BJ Davis right there.
Where does it put them for the Mountain West tournament? We react to all of it now with Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. We are here until 6 p.m. Padres have the Cactus League off day. I think they're mentally preparing to play twice tomorrow. Split squad tomorrow, Padres, Cubs, also Giants, Padres. Now, Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He joins us 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we're bothering Kevin on an off day. Are you preparing for tomorrow, Kevin? Like, where will you be with split squad action going on tomorrow? And thanks for hopping on.
Well, I'm really glad that Nick Pivetta is going to be pitching against the Giants, so I have reason to stay here in Peoria rather than go. What is it? Is it Mesa? Oh my goodness, yeah. So
okay, 2 games at one time for the Padres.
To give people an idea, Mesa would be like Peoria was in Chula Vista, and I had to go to like Lawrence Welk, like up North Escondido.
Oh, you don't need to do that.
And I had to do that at, when I was coming back, I had to do it at 5 p.m.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
So I'll gladly stay in Chula Vista, right? And watch what will be probably Manny, Pivetta, most of the regulars. Yeah, it'll be a good day.
All right, so let me ask you this about Manny. So does Manny have like a back situation, or did Manny just have the weekend plans, which is completely fine? I mean, the SDFC ownership thing, and it's spring training. He's 32 years of age. He doesn't need to be playing right now in spring training. Like, is there something going on with his back, or is it just a weekend off?
There was, and he's fine. I will say this. Like, he explained to me well before that what his plan was.
Mm-hmm.
So it was planned. And unlike all of us on this conversation and most people, if not all people listening, Manny doesn't have to go through TSA and hop on a, Southwest or American flight. Okay.
Right.
So like Manny was back in Peoria at like an hour after the game. So not a problem.
Kevin, I feel like one of the biggest storylines this spring is going to be who the 5th starter is. Randy Vasquez got lit up the other day. Matt Waldron's been okay, but what are the chances that Stephen Kolek emerges and is the 5th starter come opening day here for this team?
Should be a lot greater than we thought, I would think, at this point. The guy is doing everything he's been asked to do. And at this point, besides I think giving up 2 hits and no runs, throwing 3 perfect innings yesterday, throwing strikes, throwing all his pitches, being unafraid, doing the work, and, doing what he's being asked to do to be a starter, getting into the rhythm of being a starter. Those are all as important as the results in spring training. So the swings he's getting, the types of balls being put into play show that his stuff is good. Now, when he gets up to 4, 5 innings, what is his stuff like in the 4th and 5th inning? And that will tell us a lot about his ability. Because what it sort of seemed like was a perfect acceptance of, look, if this guy's got to go to AAA to start the season to get, to become a starter and for us to really see whether his stuff will play over the course of 90 pitches plus, then that's okay. But right now, he's doing everything to be able to, be that fifth starter on, what is that, April 1st or something? Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say the second series might be against Cleveland at home. Is that accurate?
It will be against Cleveland, so I just don't know the dates because regardless, I'll be there.
Exactly. Kevin Acee's our Padres Insider is with us right now on Jon and Jim. I saw you wrote about Dylan Cease's spring debut and the fact that he's added a two-seamer. So here's a guy that is coming off a very good year. Now, again, the postseason wasn't perfect, but a very good year through the no-hitter. He's adding a pitch to his selection. What's the primary reason, I guess, as to why coming off the year he was coming off?
Well, Ruben is big on that. Ruben Niebla, pitching coach, is just big on different directions, different planes, all the different quadrants that pitches go to. Yep. That I will be very honest that I understand half of what Ruben's talking about and no more. But that's the simple way to put it is this pitch breaks, not a lot, but it moves in, it runs into a right-hander. And so you've got his sort of rising, quote unquote, rising four seam at 98. And you've got this sinker that does like a run in at 96, 97. And you've got his slider that breaks away from righties. I'm talking about right-handers here. And it's like, wow, cool. He threw some changeups the other day too that looked pretty good. And there's a guy who, like, his changeup last year was like this, like one of us throwing it, right? It was kind of funny, like this incredibly talented professional pitcher throwing this like slow arm changeup, and it's actually turning into something. Some of the other pitchers were like, wow, that's what it did. Wow, because no one was in Goodyear, but they saw it the next day and they saw the reports on it, and so like they were real happy with what Dylan did.
Robert Suarez gave up, I think, 4 runs the other day, walked 3. He had a scoreless outing his first outing there. Well, one of the biggest talking points with Robert Suarez at the end of the season was this guy needs to develop a second pitch. And, he was really good in the postseason, albeit a couple outings. But at the end of the year, his fastball was getting hit. And where's he at in his, I guess, second pitch development this spring? And moving forward, is he going to be the closer on opening day, or is this going to fluctuate with him and Jason Adam or maybe even Jeremiah Estrada?
Oh, lots in there, Jim.
I know.
Listen, I was with you. Like it's the first thing I looked at yesterday. What wasn't working? And it kind of was everything. Yes, he did liberally sprinkle in the changeup yesterday, right? He's also got this cutter. I haven't seen that much. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen it much this spring. So yeah, that's a thing where you got to keep people off the fastball. It's that fastball's good enough. He can get away with throwing it 17 times in one game if he has to, or more preferably for them, like 8 times out of 8 pitches in the game if he can get away with it. But yes, has to be working on those. Obviously, the results yesterday not so great. Look, I mean, I don't know what to read into that. I really don't. Comes in the 3rd inning, right? Because regulars are still in, and who knows what was going on there? We'll have to keep an eye on that, but it's definitely valid questions. And your question about the closer, emphatically, he's the closer. Now, Estrada and Adam can be closers. Estrada and Adam will close games this year because Robert Suarez, the workhorse of all closers last year in Major League Baseball, like 4 outs, 5 outs, 3 days in a row, no days rest. Like the guy worked more than any other closer by several measures. Do they want to do that to him again? Don't know. Even if they do, you still have to give some, there's going to be other times. And so the Padres have that luxury. They have that luxury, which is another reason why you sometimes still hear, maybe Robert Suarez's name out there among others as a trade candidate. But Suarez is your closer.
It's interesting, Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider. If you're trying to free up money and you look around the roster, that's a good spot to look at because of the fact that they have depth in the back of their bullpen. But then again, Robert Suarez, it's a tough conversation. I could understand trying to move him to get something back and free up money. I could understand trying to keep him because he's a very reliable closer for the Padres. Now, speaking of bullpen, what about Brian Hoeing? He was really good last year. I think you reported yesterday he's expected to miss some time to start the year, right?
Yeah, probably. Well, I shouldn't say probably. It's possible a month. They're slow playing it. They say, and that's all at this point, that's all I got from, multiple people. They say that there's not a big concern. And this does line up to be one of those types of things that it's valid at this point in the year. You're like, you're pushing for opening day, but hey, whoa, let's remember, after the first month, there's 5 months of the season, and those are very important as well. So that's what this is lining up to be. It's a shoulder issue. Not exactly sure what it is, but imaging clean by all accounts, and that he'll be back in maybe in May sometime, and that a lot of times you end up looking back at the end of the season and it was so good or whatever, you forget that the guy missed the first month, and that could be what happens here with Brian Howie.
That's a good point.
Look, time's running out for him to be ready in April.
Kevin, what do you do on an off day in Peoria?
Talk to us.
Got a little workout in, and I have been sitting here writing in the kitchen of the Airbnb. Just sitting here writing. Wrote a Tyler Wade story. I recommend it. I think Tyler Wade's fascinating. He is your favorite Padres' favorite Padre, probably.
Oh.
The dude is just like, he has replaced Profar as that glue guy. And now, as much as I love Tyler Wade and other people do, I'm not saying he's going to replace Profar, with an 820 OPS. But I found it fascinating enough. And really, I mean, come on, you guys had to be shocked that it took me this long to get to what was for most of the offseason their big signing.
I know. They spent $900,000 on him.
I know.
And that was like the only signing for 6 months. Here's my question before you go. What do players do on average in Peoria on an off day? Do you have any feel for what are they doing today?
Golf, naps.
Yeah.
That like just hanging out. This is not you can't call spring training a grind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the season, but it is like this slow burn day after day after day.
Yeah.
So video games, rest, some golf, most wives/girlfriends are in town. I would even suspect that had Manny not gone back, Manny might have, caught a flight home for a couple of days, right? But of course, his wife and summer here. But that kind of thing sometimes happens where a guy will go home more often when there's a night game afterward, and there's a day game tomorrow. There's the next one though. There's a night game after.
Gotcha.
So that gives you a day and a half off.
Kevin, always appreciate it. Enjoy writing, which is what you do for a living, and we'll catch up with you on Wednesday.
Well, take care.
All right, great stuff. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider.
I'm sure everybody's doing those things that Kevin was talking about, except for Jackson Merrill, who probably is on a backfield somewhere.
Oh yeah,
taking hacks.
He probably called up the other teams like, "Can I play for you today?"
He's like, "Yeah, I just want to play."
Hey, Cincinnati, I saw you're playing today.
Yeah, can I just go out and shag some fly balls for you guys, please?
All right, on the other side, let's get to the Aztecs for the first time here today, picking up the win they had to have. What does it mean for the resume moving forward for San Diego State? Darren Smith, who was on the call Saturday night with Adrian Garcia Marquez, will join us coming up at 4:30. We're here until 6. Jon and Jim. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We have a new iHeartRadio app. I mean, it's not new since Friday, but it's new this year. And if you download it, make sure to put us in your presets. San Diego Sports 760. You can listen live to Jon and Jim 2 to 6 weekdays. You can listen live to play-by-play here, including San Diego State football and basketball and San Diego FC as well. So make sure to download the all-new iHeartRadio app. Put Jon and Jim in your presets. Put San Diego Sports 760 in your presets. I'm very surprised, Jim, we'll get to the Aztecs, did not ask Kevin about the Padres not tweeting like, congratulations, San Diego FC on your home debut on Saturday. Because this has you very...
Why would Kevin
bother?
Why would Kevin ever know
because
anything
it's
about
a
that?
Peoria off day and there's nothing else to ask him about. You are concerned about this.
I'm not concerned. I just think it's a weird look.
You think it's a bad look?
I think it's weird.
So the context here is other franchises tweet about other franchises. Hey, San Jose Earthquakes, good luck from the Golden State Warriors. And hey, Padres, good luck from San Diego FC. But no, hey, San Diego FC, good luck from the Padres, either for their opener in LA last weekend or for the home debut this past Saturday night.
Is it that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things? No, it's not. But I just think it's a weird look how every sports team in town is tweeting about each other except for the Padres. Like every team. Now, granted, we don't have many teams in San Diego.
I was going to say, like, what are the examples? Yeah.
But everybody's tweeting about everybody except for the Padres. I think the Padres view themselves in their own little space.
Right.
And if this were something that no other franchise and no other team in the country did, who cares? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be real here. The Padres are not considered, I would think, even close to one of the biggest brands in the sporting world for any sport. Some of the biggest brands in sports tweet about other teams in their city all the time, except for the Padres. And why I think it's even a weirder look is because the face of your franchise, Padres franchise, is Manny Machado. Manny Machado was at the game on Saturday night, and he is a part owner of this team. One of the biggest sponsors for the Padres is what? Saquon Casino. What's one of the biggest sponsors for SDFC? Oh, Saquon. Who are the owners? Saquon. I just view it as like, and I know what you're going to say. It's a business decision, and they're trying to, but is it really going to affect their quote unquote business if they just open their arms to the other major sports clubs in town and welcome them and show it instead of just being what it feels like is kind of a little insecure, sitting off in a corner, like we're the only thing in town that anybody should care about?
I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think you're probably reading too much into it. And I think your point is valid at the end of the day. Of course, a tweet will have no impact on either franchise, either way. Of course not. But you have to remember, I think, like we like to think that these teams are solely in it for wins and losses. I mean, these teams are massive businesses. Some of the biggest businesses in the city are professional sports teams. So they're in business. Mm-hmm. That's what they are. First and foremost, this is about profitability. And this is about, I said this before, I've worked in sports. There's only so much money to go around, right? We all agree? And time. Mm-hmm. If you're a Padres season ticket holder and those games are on Saturday night and SDFC is playing on Saturday night, you're not trying to create options or opportunities for other people. You want people at Petco, not necessarily Snapdragon, and vice versa. Now, again, I don't think they would say it that bluntly. I'm just saying that behind the scenes, it's like this argument that the Chargers leaving is a huge blow for the city of San Diego, its psyche, and its fans. But is it a huge blow for the San Diego Padres, if we're being honest?
No, they loved it.
Again, they would never say that
behind closed doors. They absolutely loved it.
But I mean, again, that's a further example of what I'm trying to say. But that's the point. When the Chargers were here, the Padres' profitability and viability was not as good as it is today.
I get it. But then I can counter that with, then why do the San Francisco 49ers do it? Why do the Philadelphia Phillies do it? Why do the Atlanta Falcons do it?
Because a tweet has no impact. Because a tweet has no impact. But I'm just saying, I I'm not saying that's how I would do it, but I'm saying I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that makes it right. I'm just saying I get it.
I just view some of the biggest brands in the country tweeting out about other sports teams in their community all the time. And the Padres can't do that once. I don't know. I just think it's weird. If no other team did it, then I wouldn't be talking about it at all. But when I see teams that are much, much, much bigger than the Padres ever will be, being okay with doing it in their own markets, yet the Padres don't do that, I don't know. I just think it's a little weird.
You think it's weird, or you don't think it's weird? You think it's, what's the actual word you're looking for? It's not weird, is it? You're saying it's kind of like Bush.
No, I don't want to go that far.
Okay.
I don't want to say it's Bush.
You're saying it's odd? It's because they don't do it for anything, I guess.
I think it's a weird type of like this, what's the word? I don't know what the word I'm trying to look for here, but is it tribalism? I don't know.
Maybe. Did they do it? Here's a question. I mean, we're going way back in social media. Did the Chargers tweet about the Padres? And did the Padres tweet about the Chargers when they were both here?
That I don't know, but I do know.
I'd be curious.
But I know in LA, you got the Dodgers tweeting about the Chargers and the Chargers tweeting about the Dodgers.
But also some of it, my point. It's like, that's so fake, the Chargers tweeting about the Dodgers. It's like when San Diego Sports 760 tweets about Arbor Day.
I mean, like, I'm not trying to use the Dodgers as like an example of what I like seeing, but the Dodgers do have an SDFC night. Not SDFC night, LAFC night.
Sure.
For them during the season. Is that infringing on their sponsors? Like, is that a big thing?
No, it's not a big thing. And maybe the Padres will have an SDFC night. Or
maybe.
Vice versa.
Well, yeah, probably not.
You don't think? I mean, I think they do like SDSU group nights and UC San Diego group nights and USD
maybe
group nights to sell tickets.
Maybe they do. I don't know. But I just thought it's just a look that I'm like, okay, you got the Wave tweeting about them. You got the Gulls. You got the Seals. You got, I think, SDSU Soccer tweeted out something. And like the Padres just said, nah, we're good.
I just think some of it, and I said, we've had this conversation each of the last 2 weeks. I think some of it's forced. Like when San Diego Sports 760 tweets out, I keep using that because you're the one that tweets. So I'm just going to call it kind of when San Diego Sports 760 tweets out Happy Easter, like, does that have any value?
No, I don't think it's different though. I view it as different.
Okay.
I view it as different. Easter's for everybody.
Not necessarily. Yeah, but it's for some, yeah.
Like Memorial Day or 4th of July, right?
Right.
But when you have, it's like the sports teams are, what are they really big on? They're really big on community.
Sure.
Okay. That is the fan inclusion, like in community based. And in a sporting community, I feel like the major sports teams should have each other's backs. And it just feels like the Padres are just completely against that.
I don't even care.
I know you don't care. I know you don't care. You don't care.
That's why I won't even argue it to a stronger degree, because I truthfully don't care.
I know you don't.
Either way, I just don't care. All right, more of the Aztecs winning Wyoming on the other side. Darren Smith at 4:30 is Jon and Jim. Happy Arbor Day.
This update's brought to you by Hamul Casino. We'll start with the Aztecs. Oh, delete the tweet. Where was I? Aztecs beat Wyoming over the weekend. Next up, they take on UNLV tomorrow night in Las Vegas. 8 p.m. tip time, 7 p.m. pregame right here on San Diego Sports 760. Moving over to San Diego FC. They had their home opener on Saturday night. It was a scoreless draw against St. Louis. Next up, they'll take on Salt Lake on Saturday on the road. 6:30 is when the match will start. NFL news of the day. T. Higgins, he's been franchise tagged by the Bengals for a second straight year. Hey, players, things are about to get real here in San Diego with the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. Gorgeous boutique rooms and suites, exciting new eats and drinks, and a rooftop pool. It gets real this summer at Hamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place.
All right, so Darren Smith is going to join us at 4:30. Jim got excited, though, and he jumped the gun and tweeted out that Darren's joining us right now. But he's not. He's joining us in 1 hour. It's the first mistake Jim has ever made, and I will forgive it. I will forgive it. But Darren will join us, and we'll talk more about Saturday night at Snapdragon. He will join us coming up at 4:30.
Premature tweet.
You did. Now, okay, this text came in at 2:14, all right? You know how we were talking about, I want to get to the Aztecs, but this back and forth about why didn't the Padres tweet about SDFC, right?
Came in at 2:14?
This was way earlier in the day. Maybe we were talking about the Padres and SDFC. Oh, this is what he said. 619 said, I'm really curious to see how SDFC success affects Padres ticket sales this year and next year. Now, I think let me be clear. I think there's easily room for both to be uber successful. I think they can put 35,000 in Snapdragon. I think they can put 40K plus at Petco on the same night. And that's going to happen. There's going to be Saturday nights where SDFC is playing at the exact same time as the Padres, right? We could look at the schedule. How many times? 5 times, let's say, right? 7 times, maybe. So that's going to happen. And I think there's going to be a lot of nights. You have 30,000+ at Snapdragon and 40,000+ at Petco Park. I don't think either will, quote unquote, eat into the other. But I understand that that could be a possibility. There could be Padres fans say, you know what? Now that we have Major League Soccer, I'm going to go to MLS. Or maybe their soccer fans say, you know what? If not for the Padres, I'd be going to San Diego FC games. But I have Padres season tickets, and I'm going to go to the Padres before I see FDSC. So, listen, I think there's room for both. I really, truly, honestly believe that. I think there'll be a lot of nights like that. That's 80,000 people, 35 and 45 on the same night. I think you'll have 80,000 people attending sporting events. But I do understand that they may eat into the other in some way or another, right? That's a possibility. You were a season ticket holder for the Padres, and now you went from 80 games to 40 games because of SDFC?
I think there's absolutely room for both, for sure. I think the more the merrier. Like, do these sporting teams, to your point, do they wish they were the only game in town like the Padres have been for a while now? Yeah. But as a fan, I want more. I want it all. I want the NFL. Now, again, you're not getting it in this town,
right,
but you know what I mean? I mean, if this town still had the NFL and still had the NBA, along with Major League Soccer and baseball, I would love it. And then you're right. It would be a gauntlet match to see who could prevail as the top dog in town. And it would put pressure on the teams to make continuous moves to outdo the other and be the number one headline.
Which is healthy, by the way. If the organizations are doing more on giveaways or promotions or experiences or whatever it is.
And to the credit of Peter and the Padres, they saw once the Chargers left, really you need to start, moving here and not just rest on your laurels and be like, well, we're the only team in town, so everyone has to watch us. Like, no, you have to try to win. And to their credit, they did everything they possibly could to win. Hasn't happened yet, but again, I think that this won't affect at all the fans of both teams.
No, I agree with that. All right, so if you missed Saturday for the Aztecs, again, with all the hoopla with SDFC, like Jim's at the stadium and all this craziness is going on, obviously. It's the debut match, and there's 35,000 people there. San Diego State's playing in Laramie, Wyoming, of all places, on Saturday night, in a gotta-have game. Everything to lose, really nothing to gain on Saturday. And I so rarely would say something like this, but I'll say it anyway. This was such a poorly officiated game.
Yes.
That honestly, the Mountain West should be embarrassed by it. They really should be embarrassed by it. And I don't say it's just from a San Diego State perspective. I would say for Wyoming as well. This game was horribly officiated to the point that all three of the technicals, the first against Wyoming, followed by the two against San Diego State, there were 3 technical fouls in 38 seconds. I've watched college basketball my whole life. I've never seen it. All 3 of the technical fouls were complete BS. Starting with the one against Wyoming, who clapped and looked at the Aztec bench. It happens after every play when a player makes a shot. He gets teed up by some official that works no Division I games, just some random official who works D2 games basically all year long, wanted to be Johnny Tough Guy. And then he does the payback technical because he knows his first technical was utter stupidity. BJ Davis hits a 3, doesn't even say anything, gets teed up. Then Miles Berg gets a complete ticky-tack foul. It was an offensive foul. They called on Miles. He's looking for an explanation. They tee him up. If I would have been there, well, I wouldn't have done anything. But Brian Dutcher was, this is how you know how insane it was. You never see Dutch lose his cool. And to his credit, he lost his cool because how could you not? Again, for San Diego State, everything is on the line. You can't lose to Wyoming, and you certainly can't lose because of poor officiating. Now, to their credit, they overcame it all, even to the point, I think I mentioned this to you. I did maybe last night after the wrap-up show. This was late in the game. Wyoming makes a shot. This happened twice in the final minute, and the ball's bouncing underneath the basket. And the official starts the 5-second clock. He's moving his arm, and the Aztecs don't even have the ball in their possession. The ball is just bouncing away. It's the official's job to get the ball and give it to the Aztecs to inbound. The ball's bouncing away. Dude's doing a 5-second count, and Dutch had to take a timeout and completely lost it. I have no idea what was going on. But the Mountain West, this isn't for San Diego State. This is for the league. For both Wyoming and San Diego State, they should be embarrassed by the performance of those officials. That's a poor representation of what's a good league. 6 teams in the tournament last year. 2 years ago, there's a team in the national championship game. Why put up with that? Why put up with that? Do better, Mountain West. If you're listening, league,
let the hate flow through you.
I mean, you if you would have seen it, you would have said the same thing. Obviously,
I saw it after the fact. I didn't see what you're describing at the end of the game where the refs just let the ball bounce and they were counting to 5. I didn't see that. I did see when BJ Davis got teed up and then Dutch just lost his mind.
Right.
I saw that. I didn't see all the other stuff that happened in that game. But if we didn't have FC, how so you're a person that doesn't really curse a lot. You do curse sometimes.
Certainly on air, I don't. Well, I've been beeped out or whatever.
Yeah, you've cursed more than me on air.
I curse a little bit.
But I'm just in your everyday life. I don't. I curse way more than you do.
You curse all the time.
All the time. On YouTube, I'm dropping F-bombs left and right.
Right.
You don't really do that.
No.
I feel like this game, you were about to turn it into me, right?
I was yelling in the sales office.
Oh my gosh.
I was yelling.
It was an embarrassment.
Just a poor reflection. And in fact, Mark Ziegler wrote yesterday. Mm-hmm. He wrote basically like do better. And he was talking about it more from San Diego State's perspective. You have almost an obligation to a program that's won at this level and gotten to a national championship under your banner and then gotten to a Sweet 16. Assign officials that are competent and quality, because this is a team that's capable of not just getting to the NCAA tournament, but winning based on what we've seen over the last few years. Don't put both San Diego State and Wyoming, don't put them in this situation where you have seasons hanging in the balance because of poor officiating. It's hard enough to officiate. I get it. It's not going to be perfect. And Brent would back me on this. There's a lot of people on the text line that are always blaming officials, and I don't go there. Say, no, it's not the difference. It can be a difference. There's no doubt about it. We've all watched college basketball enough to know it can be a difference. I didn't even go that far in the Utah State loss when Miles Bird fouled out on a clear charge. They called a block. Utah State scored the last 8 points. They said it wasn't the only reason why they lost. But this game, and the Aztecs won, so it's not crying over spilled milk. They won this game, and it's still an utter embarrassment. And if they would have lost this game, I would have walked to somewhere. And I mean, the Mountain West, we say this with umpiring. Where is any level of accountability? Nothing, no statement, no nothing.
Yeah. I love Dutch. But the one thing that I know he'll never do is in a post game, just turn into Jim Russell and lose his mind and just rip the refs a new one.
Right.
Like he'll do it on the court, and he has a way about it, which is it's so great, where he'll say something against like the refs in the nicest like way possible, but also you can interpret it as like, oh, he's taking a shot here. And I know he wasn't going to do it because he doesn't want to get fined. I know, I get it. But man, I would have loved to see Dutch just go just ballistic on these awful refs post game.
I mean, I'm always surprised, and you're right. He's way too good of a coach to do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He represents himself so well. But I thought he was going to get teed up in the final seconds of a 3-point game when they started the 5 count and the ball was just bouncing away and he had to use a timeout and he raced onto the floor. And I wouldn't have blamed him. It's like, at what point is like, what on earth are you doing? Just let the players decide this game. Like, it's not about you. Nobody came to the arena auditorium to see you officiate, dude. No. Whoever you are. All right.
Whoever you are.
All right. Let me calm down. All right, we're going to get to Is That
Deep
Good?
Breath.
The best and worst of the sports weekend. On the other side, the wrap is coming up. Excited to talk with Darren. He's done such a good job with these San Diego FC matches, working with Adrian Garcia Marquez. Darren Smith will join us coming up at 4:30. We've got great giveaways for you. We're here until 6 p.m. I'm taking a deep breath. It's Jon and Jim. Keep up with San Diego Sports 760 anytime, anywhere. Whether you're stepping out of the car or settling in at home, just ask your Google or Alexa smart speaker to play AM 760. Or stream it live through the iHeartRadio app. It's never been easier to stay connected with your favorite shows like this one.
This one.
San Diego Sports 760 goes where you go. By the way, you know how we normally do Is That Good? The best and worst of the sports weekend?
Yeah.
Are you ready for that?
Well, I thought you were gonna
prepared.
You said, you know how we do.
Yeah. And then I was gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna do it.
I thought
are you ready to do it?
I thought you wanted to finish that statement with something else.
No, are you ready? I'm asking a serious question.
Oh, am I ready?
Yeah, you're mentally ready.
Are you ready?
I am. Darren Smith will join us coming up at 4:30. He called San Diego FC, St. Louis City, Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium. So excited to catch up with Darren at 4:30. We have Shamrock Music and Beer Festival tickets to give away in the 4 o'clock hour. But right now, let's do it.
Is that good?
Wilcox, snapper, Huber, holder, from 29 yards away. Oh, he missed it badly. Kick on the way. Boswell. That's a winner.
The good and bad from the sports weekend.
Did you see, John, who the number 2 seed in the Western Conference is at this very moment in time?
I talked to Alan about this. I mean, the Lakers, right?
The Lakers are the 2 seed in the West.
Right.
The Mavericks are fading. They're down to the 10 seed. Okay. Only, I think, a game and a half out, or sorry, 2.5 games out of missing the postseason. Brent, is that good?
It is good!
For the Lakers, it is.
It's very good for the Lakers. How about this? I'm going to go off the beaten path for Darren Smith, who's joining us at 4:30. He knows this. St. John's has moved up to number 6 in the AP poll. Listen to this. The last time they were number 6 or higher was 1990-91, when Jim was a roughly 1-year-old, depending on when. 1999. When were you born? 89? Like Taylor?
Yeah.
Yeah, you and Taylor?
Yeah, we're like soulmates.
Right.
But not really.
Don't tell Aaron.
Aaron would be okay with it.
Yeah, so would I. Anyway, St. John's, top 6 for the first time since 1990-91. Is that good?
It is good!
Dude, if I'm Darren, I'm going to everything. I'm going to MSG for the Big East tournament. I'm going to the first round, second round. Wherever they go, I'm going. Because they're not good every year.
Me, Darren, and JD were talking on Saturday in the booth.
Okay.
And he just randomly brings up St. John. It was so great. Deebo Samuel is no longer a 49er.
What?
He was traded over the weekend to the Washington Commanders for a 5th round pick.
Yeah, what's that about?
Brent, is that good?
It is good!
Is that about money?
Is it good for the? It's good for the Commanders, right?
It's good for the Commanders.
I think it's good for. Who's it good for, Brent?
Well, maybe the Niners getting money.
Well, allegedly from the other Niners superfan, Ben Fletcher, a lot of the salary of Deebo's contract was being picked up in the trade. So it's a 5th round, and they don't have to pay for a big chunk of his salary. So
I would have much rather seen him go to the AFC than an NFC contender.
Yeah, good team. Yeah, Washington's good.
Because you pair him now with like a legitimate route running wide receiver in Terry McLaurin. They're going to use Deebo in other ways that are not just purely as a wide receiver. And that's something that he's not good at, is being a wide receiver. He's good at like everything else.
All right, that's great. Here's my segue. San Diego FC had the largest crowd for a sporting event in Snapdragon Stadium's history on Saturday. Over 34,000. Is that good?
It is good!
It looked great. Looked packed. Hence the largest crowd in the history of Snapdragon Stadium.
It was packed. It was loud. It was a great atmosphere. I loved it. John Cena has turned heel. Brent, is that good?
It is good!
We're going to be talking about this more in depth coming up during my back page today.
Oh, I can't wait.
But
so I can leave at 5:45?
No, you can't. You have to sit through it. You have to sit through me and Brent discussing John Cena turning heel.
Is that better than turning something else? This is the same thing we talked about when Hulk Hogan went from good to bad.
Yes, and that was what that's one of the like most iconic moments.
I watched the documentary.
It's one of the most iconic moments in wrestling history.
I asked you if you knew that, if Hulk Hogan went from good to bad.
Yes, of course I did. Everybody knew that.
He turned bad guy.
Yes.
Why? Why did John Cena do this? Is this to sell newspapers? Like, what's the purpose?
Let the story play out, bro.
Okay, I'll wait.
Anyway, he turned heel.
He turned heel. No good segue from that, but BJ Davis for San Diego State matched his career high Saturday at Wyoming, 18 points. He had 4 threes. Listen to this. He's 10 for his last 16 from beyond the arc. So BJ Davis emerging here late in the season for the Aztecs. Is that good?
It is good.
BJ Davis turned heel for the opponent.
Who?
BJ Davis.
Who?
Why are you winking at me?
Never mind.
I have no idea what you're talking about. None whatsoever.
You'll get it when I tell you during the break, but it's
Okay. Talk about John Cena for a minute.
okay.
What would you like to talk about?
Well, what do you want to know?
Nothing. That's what
I know you
I don't care. The Atlantic Sun tournament has started. What do I care? It's March.
Oh my god.
I just want to watch conference tournaments for 14 days.
John Cena turning heel is like, I'm trying to think of how to like relate it to you.
Give me a comp.
How would you relate it, Brent?
Yeah.
Like, give me
a comp? I don't an analogy.
I was thinking like if Luke Skywalker joined the dark side.
But I think he did.
No, he didn't. He had a chance to.
Luke
He never
got
did.
your father or something.
John Cena had a chance in 2012 and they were going to do it. But then Vince McMahon said, nah, you're going to stay a babyface.
What's that mean? That's a good guy?
We have to find a comp, though, that works for John.
I know.
We can't use Star Wars comps on a guy that doesn't know anything about Star Wars.
Like, give me a sporting comp. I can't.
That goes from good to bad. Is it like Jordan with the Wizards?
No.
70470, start with team. Make it make sense. Like I'm a 3-year-old. I mean, I get it. He went from good to bad.
It would be like if like Magic Johnson or somebody that like is just generally loved by
Lakers,
everybody.
Celtics?
If he just came out one day and was just told everyone to go F themselves for no reason.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wait, so does everyone hate John Cena now?
I don't hate John Cena.
But I mean, are the people in the crowd?
Yes.
They're going to be like, boo.
Yes.
Yes.
So the whole thing now is John is a bad guy. John Cena is a bad guy. And
Because he's like partnered with other bad guys?
yeah,
Yes,
he
that's how it
essentially sold his soul
Why?
to The Rock to win his 17th world championship at WrestleMania, which would break Ric Flair's record. And he would then have the most world championships in the history of WWE.
Isn't The Rock a good guy?
Not
No.
right now. He's the final boss.
I need a like Cliff Note version.
I mean, I'm giving you it. You're just not understanding it.
I mean, I get it. Okay, 619 says if John Cena joined the Dodgers, Tony Gwynn becomes a Dodger.
If Jackson
760.
Merrill joined the Dodgers
Yeah, that would be bad.
and then said
for Padres
and
fans.
said, I love the Dodgers.
But that would still be split crowd because in LA they'd be like, yay. But in San Diego, they'd be like, boo. But you're saying everywhere they go now on tour, it's all boo, right? Everyone is mad because he went from good to bad.
Yeah.
So wrestling fans root for good over bad.
It's so big because John Cena has been known for majority of his career as the all-time babyface member of WWE.
That means all-time good guy?
Yes.
Yes.
And just everything about him, it just screams good guy. And for him to then all of a sudden in his final year, which is this year, because he announced he's retiring at the end of this year, to in his last year turn heel and be bad.
This is his last year?
His last year is his retirement year.
Oh, so this would be like, yeah. Okay. Tony Gwynn, his final season's like,
I'm going to LA.
I'm going to LA.
Yeah.
let's do this thing.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It's exactly
Yeah,
perfect.
okay.
It's like
Yeah.
if Tony Gwynn
Last year
in his last year
demanded a
decided,
trade.
I want to go to the team that's going to win a World Series, and that's the New York Yankees.
Yeah, but even we're the Dodgers, right?
Well, not the Dodgers back then because the Dodgers weren't winning
Fair.
World Series.
Okay. I got you.
It's if Tony Gwynn
Yeah.
said, trade me to the Yankees because all I want to do is win a World Series.
Okay.
This would be a comp that actually happened. It was when Johnny Damon went from Red Sox to the Yankees.
Oh, it's
Right.
huge. Yeah, that's a good comp. Yeah.
Because, everyone loved Johnny Damon. Then as soon as he went to the Yankees, then, he was a jerk and everyone hated him that was a Red Sox fan.
It's like from the comic where Captain America, he says, Hail Hydra, and he joins Hydra. John has no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I
good
shouldn't have
analogy,
said
idiot.
that.
All right. Darren Smith will join us at 4:30. Does Darren care?
Darren does not care about John Cena.
Good, nor do I. All right, Darren Smith will join us at 4:30. Do you care? 70470. Start it with team. The wrap is on the other side. We have Shamrock Music and Beer Festival tickets to give away in the 4 o'clock hour, John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Hamul Casino. We'll start with the Aztecs winning on the road against Wyoming on Saturday night. Next up, they'll take on UNLV tomorrow night in Las Vegas, 8 p.m. tip time, 7 p.m. pregame. Listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. San Diego Football Club, their home opener on Saturday night was a scoreless draw against St. Louis. They picked up a point in the match. Next up, they'll take on Salt Lake on the road this Saturday. 6:30 is when the match will begin. And moving over to NFL news of the day, the Eagles released 6-time Pro Bowler Darius Slay, and the Bengals franchise tag T. Higgins for a second year in a row. Hey, players, things are about to get real here in San Diego with the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, gorgeous boutique rooms and suites, exciting new eats and drinks, and a rooftop pool. It gets real this summer at Jamul Casino, the player's place.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
San Diego is such a good market for this that you don't have to sell it. Now, there's some people you might have to sell it to. There are casual sports fans that maybe you want to make into SDFC fans. But here's the thing. I don't even know how many you're going to need.
You're right. I think the built-in fan base already with this club is already big enough to have this club have a sustained amount of fans every single home match.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of Jon and Jim. Looking forward to have Darren Smith with us at 4:30. He's done a really great job working with Adrian Garcia Marquez these first 2 matches, SDFC St. Louis City this past week. Now, will Darren be calling this upcoming Saturday's match? We could ask him on air.
Yes,
you know the answer.
Yeah. Also, he is, okay? Got thumbs up there. Got thumbs up. He is calling the match on Saturday. And if people are wondering, wait, aren't you guys... don't the Aztecs play on Saturday? Yes, they do. It's senior night for the Aztecs. So the SDFC match will be on Jammin' 95.7
on Saturday night.
On Saturday night with San Diego State against Nevada for senior night right here on San Diego Sports 7.
Man, that's a big day. Senior night, March is here. Again, SDFC is underway. Padres are 3 weeks away. So, yeah, we got things happening right now in March. Darren Smith will join us at 4:30. Now, this hour, your chance to win tickets to the Shamrock Music and Beer Festival. Next hour, now are these 2 separate giveaways, Brent? A pair of tickets for LCD Sound System is one giveaway, and the other is a pair of tickets to Summer of Loud. Okay, so we have 2 concert giveaways for you. We'll do both of those coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. So looking forward to that. So Darren's going to join us at 4:30. And right now, let's get to this.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
How many more wins do the Aztecs need to be a lock for the NCAA tournament?
I'll say 2. And that would be winning against UNLV tomorrow night and then taking care of business at home on senior night against Nevada. They do that, they're in. Locked.
Correct. I agree. I think when push comes to shove, if they get one more, they are likely to be in the NCAA tournament. But I would not lock them into the NCAA tournament with one more win. And I don't think you'd feel great. Let's say if they lost to UNLV, beat Nevada, and lost in the opening round of the Mountain West tournament. That would be a 1-2 finish. Yeah. I don't think it's ideal. Now, I still think they probably have a pretty decent shot of being in. So I'm with you. You beat UNLV Nevada, I don't care what you do in Las Vegas. You will be in the NCAA tournament. So you're right. Any combination of 2 wins in San Diego State seems assured of reaching the tournament for a 6th consecutive year if you include 2020. I do. Next question.
Who won the Debo trade?
I mean, on face, you got to say that the Commanders won because they got a guy that if he gets back in shape and stays healthy, is an elite talent. He can be used in many different ways. He's not just a wide receiver. I mean, plenty of different ways to use Debo. But, I mean, as a Niners fan, I'm going to have to see it from Debo to say that the Niners lost this trade because, man, did he look awful last year. Now, granted, he was dealing with pneumonia earlier in the season and some injuries, but he has had a problem in his past of staying in shape and staying healthy. He is not a good route runner. He is not a traditional wide receiver by any stretch. And so at this point in time, I think it's kind of a push.
A push on the trade. Interesting. I mean, you know it better than I do, but you look at the numbers from Debo last year. Wow, were they awful.
Yeah, they're bad.
And he's not exactly a spring chicken, right? He's not young. He's not old, but he's not young. He's 29. He's coming off a very bad year. But I do like the Washington offense, and now you add them like with Jaden Daniels. And I feel like that the ceiling's super high. I don't know what the floor is, but I feel like the ceiling was already high last year for Washington. So I think it gets higher with a healthy Debo. But yeah, he's going to have to prove it because he didn't play well last year. Next question.
Would you take a split tomorrow for the Padres in their split squad games?
I hate you for this question.
What? Would you take a split? So they're playing in Mesa against the Cubs, Matt Waldron against Shota Imanaga. That will not be easy. And then the other game in Peoria is Giants-Padres. Nick Pavetta's Padres debut against a guy named TBD, who's been solid for San Francisco. You think they get one? Would you take one of those right now?
They right now, John, in Cactus League play, they're 3-7. They're only a half game up on Cleveland for the worst record, and a game up on the White Sox for the worst record in the Cactus League.
Yeah, and they've lost 7 of 8 and 4 straight. They need it today. They need it today because it's become mental.
Let me just see here. Of every team in the Cactus League, John, right now, they have scored the least amount of runs of every team in Cactus League play.
Do you know what I have to say to that? No, seriously, do you know what I have to say to that? Let me say this as clearly as I can. I don't care.
I don't care, yes.
If they had scored 0 runs, I'd be like, it's fine. I don't care. What I do care about is Brian Hoeing is going to miss the start of the year, and it's a nice piece in their bullpen last year in the second half. So let's just keep him healthy. They can live with 1 injury. That's not an extreme number of injuries. They can't live with Manny Machado missing time or Nick Pivetta or whomever. Brian Hoeing, okay, they'll be fine. But just get to where they need to, which is healthy enough on March 27th against the Atlanta Braves.
39 runs this year in spring training so far in
how many games?
10 games.
That's 3.9 runs per game.
Not great.
That's why I'm asking, would you take the split? I think you have to take the split tomorrow. The way they've been playing, they need to snap this 4-game losing streak. Now, who's managing in Mesa?
I said this on the wrap-up show last night. I'm trying to find something
to get mad about,
but I just can't seriously do it because who cares? And this spring has been so boring.
Have we even talked about Manny? We'll do it on the other side. Manny says there's unfinished business. We'll talk about that at 4:15.
I love Kevin, but he's working hard when he's writing pieces about Tyler Wade.
And they're long pieces.
Long pieces about Tyler Wade. Yeah. That's when this spring for the Padres is boring.
By the way, nugget in that article today, I saw that from Talking Flyers, that the Padres have a team option on Tyler Wade for 2026.
I'm glad he blocked me on Twitter.
Yeah, they have a team. Who blocked you?
Tyler Wade.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant Ben Fadden. Next question.
I hope he does.
Do you want to see John Cena win the WWE Championship at WrestleMania?
Yeah, John.
I don't care. I don't even know who the other options are. I mean, I would take The Rock.
He's not in the match.
How do you know?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Thank you.
I don't know that.
I would take all those guys. Is there a bracket? I need a bracket. They should bracket this thing out. Like 1 seed this guy, 16 seed that guy. They fight or whatever they do. They tussle.
They've done it before.
And then they move on.
That's WrestleMania 4.
Thank you. So do that. Bring it back. It's March. Do it for the NCAA tournament.
Well, considering the fact that they're not doing that, and Cody Rhodes is the WWE Undisputed Champion right now.
Wait, so why did he have to turn heel to be in a championship match? That's a good question.
He technically did it because he already was in it after winning the Elimination Chamber last night, or Saturday night. So he didn't, you're right, but.
See, I'm not even going to ask. I'll ask you off air because I don't even care.
No, ask me on air.
What's the Elimination Chamber?
Too much to explain to you on air. Like, I literally, if I try to explain it to you, halfway through, you would tell me to shut up.
I'll Google it.
Yeah, what is the Elimination Chamber?
It's probably easier because then you can just look at
AI.
it.
I'm going to ask ChatGPT.
Do it. I want you to ask ChatGPT. It'll probably be a better answer.
What is the WWE Elimination Chamber, please?
You probably don't have to put the WWE in front of it. I don't think
the
there's too many
WWE
just
Elimination Chamber is an annual professional wrestling event produced by WWE. Yeah, no crap. The event is named after the signature match type, the Elimination Chamber match, which is a unique and brutal match that takes place inside a large enclosed structure resembling a cage with pods. The match typically involves 6 superstars, and competitors are eliminated one by one by pinfall or submission until only one remains as the winner. So did he win that yesterday?
Yes, he did. Saturday he did.
But he didn't need to turn heel to do that. Is what you're telling me.
No, but maybe he did need to turn heel to win the championship because technically, I guess he sold his soul to The Rock and he wants the title. And maybe he thought to himself he couldn't get it done as a babyface because if you have followed John Cena's recent, I guess, matches, he hasn't won in forever. And so the storyline behind that is John Cena has not won a match in 8 years, Brent? I mean, it's been a long time. Like a singles match.
No, because he won a Mania a couple years ago. He beat what's his name, A-Town and Down. Guy.
He lost to him.
Did he?
Yeah, he lost to Austin Theory. He has lost every single singles match for the last decade. He hasn't won a title since I think 2013. And so yeah, he's selling his soul. That's why he's becoming a bad guy. How much of that did you listen to, John?
Why did Manny Machado say this weekend the Padres have unfinished business? Plus Darren Smith, who called Saturday's SDFC match right here on San Diego Sports 760. He'll be back with us. He'll join us coming up at 4:30. And later this hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets, actually a 4-pack of tickets, to the Shamrock Music and Beer Festival. Stay with us. It's Jon and Jim. Help me. All right, looking forward to connecting with Darren Smith. Coming up at 4:30, he's been calling these SDFC matches right here on San Diego Sports 760. So looking forward to having Darren on. We can talk some Padres. We can talk Aztecs. Really anything. I mean, we could ask him about, I don't even know. Whatever we want to ask him about.
We won't ask him about John Cena, I promise.
No, he doesn't care. He's like me. I know he doesn't care.
You know what I think I might do? Since you get segments on the show dedicated to
I'm listening.
Ken Palm and
you have a
bracketology.
segment every day, but go on.
I think it's time I get a wrestling guest on, and we could talk about WrestleMania.
Do it,
and then you can have you can have 10 minutes.
Here's what I want it: 5:45 every day, and I will bolt out of here.
No, you can't leave.
Okay, I have to stay here. That's fine. I can get a Diet Coke, and
no,
I can't get a Diet Coke.
Well, you can.
I'm not asking any questions about WrestleMania.
I know, but
I'm not gonna be like, in WrestleMania 11 in Minneapolis.
That's not what I would ask.
I don't even know what we're talking about. Okay, wait. So, do we have the sound of Manny Machado talking about unfinished business?
Yes. Major League Baseball Network did their 30 clubs in 30 days, and they're doing it right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are they done?
And I think it was yesterday they were in Peoria highlighting the Padres, and Yonder's there, Manny's brother-in-law, and they had a conversation by the bullpens about this upcoming season, and of course, unfinished business with the Dodgers.
What we did last year as an organization, as a team, a lot of people didn't expect that from us, and we overcame a lot of things, a lot of adversities, and built something pretty special here. And coming into this season, man, we got the same squad going out. Obviously, we're missing some pieces that left, but with the team that we got in there, man, we're ready to compete. We're ready to do handle the unfinished business that we have.
You played 150 plus games last year. It's funny because you haven't had a full spring training in quite some time. And everybody thinks that just because you played 150 games last year, you were healthy. What was that like last year? And then obviously coming into spring training this year, fully healthy.
Yeah, rehab, man. Like all last year was just straight rehab. Kind of not having your normal off-season routine of working out, bulking up, getting ready for a long season. I think the main part, and this, it's you want to bulk up in the off-season so that you could withstand those 150 games, 162 games, because in the season there's a lot of ups and downs. So, not having that last year was kind of tough, battling the rehab, kind of, ups and downs of pains here and there on the elbow, couldn't really do a lot of things. So, to have a good off-season this year, normal, kind of getting into a normal spring training and go out there, be with the team on team fundamental stuff. It's been fun to do it, and I think it's always a special way when you have a healthy spring.
I look at this roster, a bunch of special players all around, but what's going to be the key to this year's team?
Biggest thing is, man, just keep playing as a team. I think it's if we handle the baseball, we handle the team. Team defense, team baseball like we did last year, moving guys over. I think the biggest key for us, I think offensively, I think we're gonna have a good year, right? We have Toddy come back healthy, myself, Bogey's gonna have a big year. Jackson, obviously, we're gonna lead with him as well. But I think defense is gonna be the key for us. We, with our pitching staff, how we pitch, use Petco to our advantage. We clean up that defense and we become a top defensive team. I think, that's going to take us a long way.
Can I just say this?
What?
You're not. I don't know why I feel like I've been picking on him, but it's not with intent.
Yeah, you are picking.
He's like, you're not getting to the World Series with defense, and you're also doing have unfinished. The unfinished business was right there, and you had unfinished business in 2024. And now you have unfinished business in 2025?
They had unfinished business in 2023 as well.
True, but I mean, true. But at least the Dodgers in 2023 didn't win the World Series.
Right.
In 2024, the business was there to be finished. I was watching. We all were. They led a series 2 games to, what do you mean it's unfinished? The truth is, I hate to put it this bluntly, I think you did. I'll say it now 6 months later. They choked.
I said the day after they
choked. So it's not unfinished business. It's how do you even get back? And once you get there, can you do the mental gymnastics and hurdles to get through that spot? Because everyone's going to say the same thing. You can't beat them.
Well, wouldn't you say if your goal is to do something and you haven't accomplished that goal yet, you're job is unfinished.
I guess, but that kind of makes, I hate to say this bluntly, like kind of his career is unfinished business.
Okay, well, a lot of players' careers are unfinished.
Yeah, but not of his caliber.
Well, there's a lot of players of his caliber that are still unfinished if their main goal while playing was to win a World Series.
But not a lot of players of his caliber. How many players of his caliber? Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's Bryce Harper, but then there's someone like Shohei Ohtani that's 6 years with the Angels, his first year in LA, wins a World Series. You're right. Fair. You don't have to win a World Series to be a great player. I would never put it all on Manny, although I do think it's a big part of the story here to get to a World Series or win one. I'm not saying it's all on him, but it does feel like a good share of it ultimately does fall on his shoulders, especially when you hit 140 in the postseason, which is what he hit in 7 games. It wasn't one game. In 7 games, I get it, not a million games, but he hit 140 in those 7 games.
Yeah,
I get it. It's unfinished.
It is. I view it differently. Like I just said, if their main goal, which has been since Manny got here in San Diego in 2019, was to win a World Series, they have not done that yet. Every year, job's unfinished until they win a World Series.
Right. So
it's unfinished business.
I guess, would you kind of agree with my like quizzical nature? Let's say Manny gets to be a 36-year-old, which isn't that far from now, right? 3 years pass, we're sitting here, and he's 35 or 36 or 36 or 37, 3 or 4 years from now. At what point do we be like, Manny, like, you know, you went through it here. Like we just lived through your prime. Like if not then why would it be now? That's just how I'm feeling a little bit. Like 7 years into his tenure, it's like, is it getting easier or harder?
Well, it's not all up to him. I mean, he's a guy that can definitely help the cause. If they make the postseason, he can't hit 140. I understand.
Yeah.
Like we all know that.
Yep.
He knows that. We know that. Everybody knows that. But it's also a situation in baseball. You know this. In a postseason series, he could hit 360 and they still could get swept.
100%.
So like, it's not all on his shoulders. He is a big part of this, and I view the quote of unfinished business, and we have a job to do, and we want to face the Dodgers. I don't view that as a bad thing. I think it's something that if I was in his spot, I would say the same thing. You got really close last year. You were a really good team. You felt like you were going to win a World Series last year and you didn't do it. And you're returning a lot of the players that you had on the team last year. And the main goal is to win a World Series. So yeah, your job is unfinished as of right now for your main goal, which is to win a championship.
I don't know why I'm very bothered by
You really
him
hate
right
Manny
now.
right now.
No, I'm just bothered by something.
You really are.
I just the talking in February I'm bothered by.
I think you're bothered.
Why have we changed? You used to be so bothered by him.
I know. Now you are. I'm fine.
It's like I've turned heel.
You have turned heel. John Schaefer has turned heel on Manny Machado. And I've turned babyface.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Me and Manny are best buddies. You hate Manny.
I know. You were hanging out with him Saturday night.
Yeah, we were great. It was a great time. His back looked fun. His back seemed
He's
fine.
picking like heavy things up with that back.
You know, Manny showed up for a big game. It was great.
Darren Smith. Darren Smith, who's been calling matches for San Diego FC. Of course, you heard him for years right here on San Diego Sports 760. He will join us next, Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Jamul Casino. We'll start with the Aztecs. They beat Wyoming over the weekend. Next up, they take on UNLV tomorrow night in Las Vegas. 8 p.m. tip time, 7 p.m. pregame. Listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. San Diego FC in their first ever home match over the weekend was a scoreless draw against St. Louis. They picked up a point in the game. Next up, they'll take on Salt Lake this Saturday at 6:30. And NFL news of the day, the world champion Philadelphia Eagles released 6-time Pro Bowler Darius Slay. And the Bengals, they franchise wide receiver T. Higgins for the second year in a row. Hey, players, things are about to get real here in San Diego with the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. Gorgeous boutique rooms and suites, exciting new eats and drinks, and a rooftop pool. It gets real this summer at Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place.
All right, I'm excited for this. Darren Smith back on San Diego Sports 760. Now, he's been here the last couple of weekends with San Diego FC. And Darren, I told you this off air, and I've said it here on air. I've been really enjoying you and Adrian Garcia Marquez has been awesome. I was driving home from the San Diego State Wyoming game. You know me, I'm not some diehard soccer fan, but I've really enjoyed it. And you guys sound really, really good together. Kind of like it just works, it clicks, it's natural. I know you're calling Saturday as well, SDFC, Real Salt Lake, 6:30 on Jam and 95.7. So I just want to start there, man, because I know what goes into it. Calling games, like a lot of people don't understand what goes into it. There's all this prep, there's all these players, but I've really enjoyed it, man. And thanks for hopping once again back on.
Well, thank you for saying that. You're too kind. I would say the Jon and Jim show and the chemistry that you guys have, it's a huge inspiration for Adrian and myself. We aspire to have that kind of connection and the kind of repartee and banter that you guys have each and every afternoon for 4 hours a day. Now, I mean, it's been great. Adrian he is such a pro. He's so good at what he does. Here's a guy who works with a million different partners. He does so many different sports, right? As you guys found out, this is a guy that literally just a couple of months ago was doing the Super Bowl. Not even a couple of weeks ago was doing the Super Bowl. He's done the Super Bowl. He's done the World Series. He's done the Olympics. There really isn't much this guy hasn't done in his career. And he gets to work with some of the best pros in the business. And then all of a sudden into the booth comes some schmuck like me who hasn't been in the broadcast booth since college. And he's really made life easy. So I've really, really enjoyed working with Adrian. You never quite know. I knew him. I didn't know him personally. I knew of him, more of his career. But he's really made life very, very easy for me. He's a great guy to work with. And hopefully it just gets better each and every week. So thank you very much for saying that. And thank you for a very tidy Aztec post-game show on Saturday night.
I needed to make sure to get it to you guys by 7:40. And by the way, your relationship with Adrian is like the opposite of our relationship, me and Jim, because we literally hate each other. I do want to kill Jim half the time. Yes. And I don't feel like listening to you two, you have any desire to put your hands around each other's necks.
Yeah, I don't think Jon is sitting there and be like, man, Jim makes it real easy for me on the broadcast every single day. So, of anybody in this town, you have been waiting for this for a long time. You have been a proponent of Major League Soccer in this town forever. And so for you being there at the first ever home match for MLS for San Diego FC, obviously it was special, but just seeing the crowd and it coming to life, what was your just thoughts on everything you saw that wasn't on the field?
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't even just on match day. I think even the day before I went into the team store in Mission Valley and being in the position that I'm in where I have a little bit of free time,
Yeah.
I wandered into the team store at 1:00 on Friday afternoon, and I figured that was a pretty safe time to kind of get in and kind of get out. And was looking to buy something for myself, buy something for my wife. And I was blown away how many people were at the team store at 1:00 on Friday afternoon. And I had a friend who went in on Saturday and was like, yo, this place is packed, So like the excitement, and some of it obviously is just, hey, it's the first ever MLS match in San Diego history. Some of it, I think, was boosted by the fact they went up the road and won in Carson as they did, winning 2-0 against 2-0 against the defending champs. So, it was like rocket fuel for a city and a county that was really excited to have Major League Soccer here for the first time. But driving in on Saturday, so many times I've been on that 15 freeway or I've been on that 8, like you're within sight of the stadium and you can already see people that are there, right? Like, whether it's been pro football or Aztec football or MLS in this case, or back in the day with Padres, there's just like that, like people are already there. People have planned their whole day around this. And then they get into the stadium and see how many people are inside of Snapdragon Stadium with like 40, 50 minutes to go. Jim, you and I talked a little bit about that, watching the supporters march in, like the whole event, there was just like, it just had this event status. There was like a true sense of occasion in San Diego that wasn't just limited to soccer fans. I just think, everybody was really into the spirit of what it was that happened on Saturday night, whether you've been waiting for 10 years or 20 years or, whether you're relatively new to it, you just got into it in the last couple of weeks.
I think it's been super cool. Again, I think for me and Jim specifically, what I like about it is like, there's not a 30-year history, so like everyone is like, it's game one.
Yeah.
So, whether you might not be a diehard soccer fan, but then again, you haven't missed anything because you haven't missed San Diego on the field here in Major League Soccer. Darren Smith with us right now on Jon and Jim. So here's my question. We had the MLS play-by-play guy, Jake Zivin, on earlier. Mm-hmm. What happens without Chucky Lozano? Because you watch him for the first couple of matches, this guy's unbelievable. He's dynamic. And with an expansion team, obviously they don't have the same depth as some of these other franchises in the league. So is this the type of thing that like it can't be easily replaceable, right? Because it's Chucky Lozano. So what happens now?
Well, you caught a glimpse of it, I think, after he came out of the match on Saturday night. St. Louis is a defensive-minded team. They have a coach who's a former defensive player. And, their mindset is, we are going to defend. We are going to keep the opposition out of goal. And when Lozano came out of the match, you can see in real time the way that they just started shifting defensively over towards week one hero Anders Dreyer, right? They started putting extra coverage over towards him. And essentially, the message seemed to be, well, we know that this guy can score goals, but we're not so sure about any of these other cats over here. So, who is it amongst the other players without Chucky Lozano that's going to be able to put the ball in the net? Chucky's going to get his goals when he's healthy in Major League Soccer. There's no doubt about that. Anders Dreyer was probably a little bit of surprise in week one because he wasn't a very familiar name, even though he was a designated player. So, I think it's going to be up to other guys to step into this role here. If Chucky's out for a short amount of time or if he's out for, a bit longer, it seemed to me like the St. Louis coach was saying, I don't know anything about these other guys and their ability to beat us in an MLS game. So I'm going to just challenge them to do so. And I'm going to take Dreyer out of it because Chucky's out. So, I think reinforcements probably have to come here over the next couple of weeks. The window's still open until April 23rd. But, it's probably going to have to come from somebody like Luca De La Torre or Marcus Ingvartson. So, you brought these guys in here for reasons. And, maybe it'll take a little time for some of them to adjust to Major League Soccer. I mean, we're only 2 matches into it, right? Mm-hmm. But, I think you're going to have to find a little bit more pop and a little bit, more offense from some of the guys that are on the squad.
For me, being there, I just was like, okay, this is great, blown away by all the supporters groups and the chanting for the entire match. But then you get to the end of the match, I had no clue what was going on. I just didn't know. And talking to people, I had to talk to multiple people, including you, like what's happening here. So for people out there that might not understand, I guess the history behind this chant that was at the end of the match, I guess, could you explain that for people and why this is, a big deal and why San Diego Football Club is treating it as such?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long conversation,
Mm-hmm.
Talking about the history of that word in this sport. And I think the way the club has gone about it is exactly the way the club has to go about it, which is to say we have zero tolerance for this. Mm-hmm. And we are strong and clear in our messaging that this is not welcome in our building and this is not welcome at any other match in the future. And if you think that this is part of the culture of the sport, please don't come anymore. Right? It's a pretty bold step to take for an expansion club, but the history of the word in the sport has been around and it's been debated, and it, crazily enough, still is debated up into this day. And LAFC had to go through something like this. Tom Penn was part of LAFC back then, so he's got some experience in what to do when the situation pops up. LA Galaxy had a situation like this. It's unfortunate, and like, there is room for nuance in that. People, I think sometimes don't truly understand the meaning of the word. They don't understand, or maybe they even disagree, because they don't, they're not homophobic people. and they don't view it as a homophobic word. But, it is a homophobic word, even if it's not the intent. And I realize this sounds like double talk here, and it's kind of crazy. Like I said, it's not an easy conversation, but, it's just a word that does have different definitions, but one of those definitions is clearly homophobic, which is why it just has to be taken out of the game. I've been going to games in Tijuana for a long time, and, that it's more popular there and has been more accepted in years past. And, I didn't think much of it until I learned about it. So, I don't, I think it's just, it's oftentimes like an evolutionary thing where people need to evolve on this word and understand why it is offensive, even if they're choosing an alternate definition for what the word actually means. So I hope that makes sense, but, people, need to understand why it's offensive, because a lot of people just still don't consider it to be. And I just don't think everybody that says it at a game, I read the story earlier today where somebody sort of put it in the same category as doing the waves, where like the crowd is into it and you're like, hey, I've had a couple of beers, I feel loose. But, we've gotten to the point now where bottom line is we can't have it. The majority has decided that word should be excluded from the sport and from the game. So, let's try to make that happen in the future.
I like that explanation. Darren Smith with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. All right, I have to switch gears to the Padres for a moment, because I feel like me and Jim have switched sides here, where Jim would always be all in on Manny criticism, and I'd be like, listen, take a step. I don't know what it is, Darren. I'm just like,
it's spring training. That's what it is.
I'm over everything, and it's only like March 2nd or March 3rd.
It's so boring.
But like Manny, some of the comments like we've got unfinished business, or it's great to be in a division with the world champs because then you can take down a team in your division. I'm like, well, you just had that opportunity, and now we got to go through the same song and dance for the next year. Like, I don't know. Is the criticism of Manny like? Is it too hard to be critical of him to start a year when nothing is really? It's just I have such a sour taste from the way last year ended that I just don't have time for the song and the dance, I guess.
Yeah, I don't remember where I heard it, but I heard a smart person once upon a time say that heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Oh yes.
And that's Manny. Like Manny's, he's the highest paid player on the team, and a lot of people refer to him as the captain, and a lot of people credit Manny Machado or blame him for setting a tone, right, in a good way or in a bad way. So I'm with you. I mean, I just need to see it. I don't need to hear about it. It's one thing to say all this sort of stuff, and it's another thing to go out there on the field and do it. I don't tend to put a lot of stock in the things that people say. Especially during spring training when everybody seems like they're so bored. Right. They just, nobody even really, everybody's digging deep to try to find a storyline here. But yeah, okay, like we've heard a lot of stuff, like you had them dead to rights. Everybody kind of agrees the Padres let the Dodgers off the hook, right? And that seems to be the opinion. So, from that standpoint, I don't know that there's anything he can say, at this point that's going to make anybody feel better. As much as he's just going to have to go out there and do his thing when the lights turn on.
I know you've been probably dying to talk about it on the radio at some point, but your Johnnies are pretty good. And how much are you going to start a podcast soon with talking about just St. John's basketball after their eventual run to a national championship this year, or what?
Well, John can tell you. I keep texting him asking him why Joe Lunardi doesn't have him higher. I'm like, hey, when are you having a bracketologist on? Like it used to.
Tomorrow, probably.
Like what used to be my least favorite part of the Jon and Jim show is now like, hey,
mine too.
Can you slip in a question about what's going on with the Johnny? I mean, they haven't won an outright division title, an outright Big East title since 1986. That is crazy to me. Like I'm old and like I was even in high school like the last time that happened. So, I was in my 20s the last time they won a tournament game. It's been great to see. I've really enjoyed it. Patino is just such a, as I said when he got hired, if he couldn't do it, nobody was going to do it. If he couldn't turn this program back into the winner that it was when I was a kid, then maybe we should just forget about it. Maybe we should just scrap basketball altogether, even with our history, because if Patino can't do it, nobody's ever going to do it. So I'm really just enjoying it. I haven't watched enough to know, if they're like legitimately a national title contender. But, they're ranked where they're ranked, and I keep checking Joe Lunardi every day and seeing where they might be playing. So maybe I'll make a trip or maybe go back for the Big East tournament. I'm not quite sure. trying to figure that all out. But man, it is just so much better than the alternative of just feeling like it is a total waste of time. Like, too many years where like I've just talked about it and said like it is a total waste of time, and it's been so much fun to watch them come together, and it's been so much fun to watch them play in front of great crowds again at Madison Square Garden.
And I mean, your sports fandom right now, Knicks are good, Johnnies are good. You're, involved a lot with San Diego FC. Like sports teams for you are pretty good right now. So
absolutely, Padres were a couple of a couple innings away from maybe going to the World Series.
Not for Manny. I'm kidding.
Yeah, if he actually did something in Game 5,
he didn't blow that save again.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's certainly fun. I mean, but it is the old phrase, like it is the hope that kills you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, last year the letdown of the Padres is because so many of us, and I include myself in that mix. I wasn't on the air for it, but I said it clearly. Like, I was in the camp that I thought they were going to the World Series. I'm hedging a little bit. I'm a little hesitant, a little guarded on the Johnnies and on the Knicks because they haven't really beaten good teams. But all of a sudden, like all these teams that I root for are suddenly good again. I don't really know what to do with myself.
Where you're going to be back in that world where it's St. John, San Diego State in the second round, which that happened, didn't it? Or was that a first round?
But now Darren can openly
that was an 8-9 game in 2015.
Amazing.
It was 8-9, and the winner went on to face Duke.
Duke, that's right.
And if he's listening, Steve Lavin suspended our best player before that game, and San Diego State really took it to them, and then they all got sick, and
that's right.
They lost to Duke.
Darren, we appreciate you, man. It's been fun to hear you. We'll hear you on Saturday night again, Real Salt Lake and San Diego FC on Jammin' 95.7. Pregame coverage will begin at 6. Right, for 6:30?
Correct.
6 p.m.
Yes.
Darren,
yes, Jammin' 95.7. Good. That was good to know. Now I know where to go.
Jammin' 95.7 because the Aztec Senior Night is Saturday at 7:30.
Yeah, they've been a lot of fun too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've been stressed out about them.
I've been so stressed out.
Don't even get them started about Saturday night either.
I can't.
Yeah.
Well, I feel better about them now, but college basketball is stressful. They appreciate it, man. We'll do it again. We appreciate you hopping on, man. Great to hear your voice.
Thanks, man.
Great. Thank you, fellas. Appreciate it.
All right, Darren Smith. We'll react. Plus, you need to call right now if you want a free 4-pack of tickets to the Shamrock Music and Beer Festival. Let's do that right now. First 2 callers will be contestants for trivia. Call right now. 4 free tickets to the Shamrock Music and Beer Festival, Saturday, March 15th from 2 to 10. 877-767-4760. You like music and beer, right? Free 4 tickets. 877-767-4760. Call right now. That's next. All right, caller 2 just dropped off. If you want a free 4-pack of tickets to the Shamrock Music and Beer Festival, maybe you like free beer, then call 877-767-4760. You and buddies, a free 4-pack of tickets to the Shamrock Music and Beer Festival. It's coming up not this Saturday, but next, Saturday, March 15th in the Gas Lamp, 2 to 10 p.m. If you want to play Ben in trivia, call right now, 877-767-4760. A free 4-pack of tickets. All you have to do is pick up your phone right now, 877-767-4760. That was fun to connect with Darren on a variety of topics.
Yeah, very fun. Saw him at the game on Saturday.
Oh, must be nice.
Yeah, it was nice, actually.
I know.
So I met Adrian Garcia Marquez at the game as well. Awesome guy. And he's, again, can't say enough good things about him on the broadcast. Yeah, met other people as well. Met
you met other people?
Tony from Two Balls and a Mic. Met Hector, who called in earlier to the show. Saw Darnay there.
Who?
Our old friend Darnay. Well, by what I mean,
By literally like previous friend of ours.
like old
no
friend,
longer
like no longer friend, like old friend of the show.
And if you listened, you text us.
Yeah, bro.
You would text us. You'd be mad at us if you were listening.
Yeah, we're trashing you right now, and
That's
you
right.
would text us in our group chat saying, "What the f, man?"
Right.
But no.
All right, let's play.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Ben and we have John. Ben, you called in first, so you have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
I will take John.
All right,
All right,
ben and John. And that means John gets Jim. All right, are you there, John?
Yes, I am.
All right,
That's
perfect.
confusing.
Yeah, a little bit.
John and Jim.
Yeah. Brent, what is the question of the day?
All right, guys, the Aztecs have been to back-to-back Sweet 16s for the first time in school history. Today's question, can you name the 10 teams that have 20 or more all-time Sweet 16 appearances? So there's 10 schools that have been to the Sweet 16 at least 20 times or more. Name them.
All right, John, you're up first. What's your first guess? You'd have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I'm going to go with Duke.
Duke. Good guess on the list. There we go. Ben, your first guess. What do you got?
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Good guess.
John, you're up next. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
UConn.
UConn.
That's a big number, man.
Ooh.
No. They're more of a new blood than a blue blood.
Right.
They only have 19.
Oh, missed by 1.
Wow. Ben, you're up next. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Kentucky.
Kentucky has to be on the list.
Yep. There you go. All right. John, back to you. You're going to need this to stay in the game. What is your next answer? You do have a lifeline too if you want to use it.
Let me get my lifeline.
Okay. I will go with Kansas. Do you take that?
I was thinking Kansas. All right. Yeah, I take it.
Kansas? Oh, wow. On the list.
Wow, on the list. Ben, you could walk off here with the correct answer. What is your final guess? You do have probably an easy layup for a lifeline in John if you want to use it.
I got one.
John,
I got a guarantee.
I will take my lifeline.
Yeah, I'll give you a guarantee. January, February, Izzo. Michigan State.
Do you take that, Ben?
Yes.
Ball game. Congratulations to Ben. You have won that free 4-pack of tickets to the Music and Beer Festival, the Shamrock Music and Beer Festival. Who else? So we got 5 of the 8, I want to say.
I'm going to go UCLA.
Yep, I go UCLA. I agree with you. Is that right?
Yes, they're on the list. I was just going to say Michigan State was towards the bottom of the list.
Ooh.
They weren't as
I knew
high
they
up
had
as you
20.
thought.
I knew they had 20.
They had 21.
You know, I would say IU. It hasn't been recent. That might be a stretch. Indiana?
Yeah, they're on the list.
Okay, thank you. And one other. Is that right, Brent? One other we're missing?
No, there's a couple others.
Oh, yeah, because there were 10, not 8. I'm sorry. We said Kentucky. We said Kansas. Duke, Carolina. UCLA. Michigan State.
I don't know.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, John,
Are we done? Are we done?
One of them, their mascot is a bird.
The Birds.
The Birdies.
What about there's gotta be a school like in the Big 12.
Birds?
Birds. The Birds.
I'm drawing
St.
a blank.
Peter's Peacocks?
No. Drawing a blank. What is it?
It'd be the Louisville Cardinals.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Cardinals, I'm thinking Stanford.
Watching Louisville right now.
All right, who else is on this list?
Syracuse. And Arizona. That's pretty much all of them, I think.
Pretty much. Is that the list? All right. That's the list. And UConn's been to 19.
Yes.
And Gonzaga's not on that list. They've been to 9 straight Sweet 16s, but they're not on that list because they're more of a new blood. They've done it for the last 20 years, not over the last 50 years.
Right.
All right. If you missed our conversation with Kevin Acee,
they've been to 14.
They've been to 14. Thank you. If you missed Kevin Acee, we'll share that conversation with you on the other side. We've got great giveaways in the 5 o'clock hour as well. We have tickets to see LCD Sound System. We have a pair of tickets to see Summer of Loud as well that we'll tell you about. So a couple of giveaways in the 5 o'clock hour. Kevin Acee as well coming up next, hour 4, Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Hamul Casino. Aztecs take on UNLV tomorrow night in Las Vegas. 8 p.m. tip, 7 p.m. pregame. Listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. San Diego Football Club. Their next match will be this Saturday against Salt Lake. You can hear that match on Jammin' 95.7. Pregame starts at 6. Match starts at 6:30. And NFL news of the day, the Philadelphia Eagles, world champion Philadelphia Eagles, have released 6-time Pro Bowler Darius Slay, and the Bengals have franchise tagged T. Higgins for a second year in a row. Hey, players, things are about to get real here in San Diego with the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. Gorgeous boutique rooms and suites, exciting new eats and drinks, and a rooftop pool. It gets real this summer at Hamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
San Diego is such a good market for this that you don't have to sell it. Now, there's some people you might have to sell it to. There are casual sports fans that maybe you want to make into SDFC fans. But here's the thing. I don't even know how many you're going to need.
You're right. I think the built-in fan base already with this club is already big enough to have this club have a sustained amount of fans every single home match.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 4 of Jon and Jim. Just hour 4. We'll be here until 6 p.m.
Do you want to do another hour after this? Like 5 hours?
I would do another hour.
No, you wouldn't.
No, 4's fine. 4's fine. Now, we do have Houston and Kansas tonight on San Diego Sports 760. You haven't mentioned that once in your update, have you?
Why would I care about that?
Why would I care about John Cena? For some of the audience, they like John Cena. For the other part of the audience, they want to hear about the Houston Cougars.
I would bet you more of the audience knows more about John Cena than the Houston.
Put out a poll.
Who are they playing tonight? Kansas?
Oh, it's just the Houston-Kansas game. Everyone in San Diego's talking about it.
Dude, Kansas isn't even ranked, bro.
I know. They've struggled.
Now,
anyway, that's coming up at 6 p.m.
Houston keeps on. They continue.
You know how many times they've lost since the Aztecs?
None.
1.
Wow.
Yeah, 1 time.
That win looks better and better every day.
By the day, it really does.
Yeah.
By the way, Aztecs tomorrow night, 8 p.m. in Vegas against UNLV.
Yeah, I just said that on the update.
Nobody was listening. That's why I thought you said Houston and Kansas. Anyway, we had Kevin Acee on earlier from Peoria. It is a Padres off day, but we started the conversation asking what he's looking most forward to at the split squad tomorrow.
Well, I'm really glad that Nick Pivetta is going to be pitching against the Giants, so I have reason to stay here in Peoria rather than go, what is it? Is it Mesa? Oh, my goodness, yeah. So
okay, 2 games at one time for the Padres.
To give people an idea, Mesa would be like Peoria was in Chula Vista, and I had to go to like Lawrence Welk, like up North Escondido.
Oh, you don't need to do that.
And I had to do that at, when I was coming back, I had to do it at 5 p.m.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
So I'll gladly stay in Chula Vista, right? And watch what will be probably Manny, Pivetta, most of the regulars. Yeah, it'll be a good day.
All right, so let me ask you this about Manny. So does Manny have like a back situation, or did Manny just have the weekend plans, which is completely fine? I mean, the SDFC ownership thing, and it's spring training. He's 32 years of age. He doesn't need to be playing right now in spring training. Like, is there something going on with his back, or is it just a weekend off?
There was, and he's fine. I will say this. Like, he explained to me well before that what his plan was.
Mm-hmm.
So it was planned. And unlike all of us on this conversation and most people, if not all people listening, Manny doesn't have to go through TSA and hop on a, Southwest or American flight. Okay.
Right.
So like Manny was back in Peoria at like an hour after the game. So not a problem.
Kevin, I feel like one of the biggest storylines this spring is going to be who the 5th starter is. Randy Vasquez got lit up the other day. Matt Waldron's been okay, but what are the chances that Stephen Kolek emerges and is the 5th starter come opening day here for this team?
Should be a lot greater than we thought, I would think, at this point. The guy is doing everything he's been asked to do. And at this point, besides like, I think giving up 2 hits and no runs, throwing 3 perfect innings yesterday, throwing strikes, throwing all his pitches, being unafraid, doing the work. and, like doing what he's being asked to do to be a starter, getting into the rhythm of being a starter, those are all as important as the results in spring training. So the swings he's getting, the types of balls being put into play show that like his stuff is good. Now, when he gets up to 4, 5 innings, what is his stuff like in the 4th and 5th inning? And that will tell us a lot about like his ability. Because what it sort of seemed like was a perfect acceptance of, look, if this guy's got to go to AAA to start the season to get, to become a starter and for us to really see whether his stuff will play over the course of 90 pitches plus, then that's okay. But right now, he's doing everything to be able to, be that 5th starter on, what is that, April 1st or something? Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say the second series might be against Cleveland at home. Is that accurate?
It will be against Cleveland, so I just don't know the dates because regardless, I'll be there.
Exactly. Kevin Acee, our Padres insiders, with us right now on Jon and Jim. I saw you wrote about Dylan Cease's spring debut and the fact that he's added a 2-seamer. So here's a guy that is coming off a very good year. Now, again, the postseason wasn't perfect, but a very good year through the no-hitter. He's adding a pitch to his selection. What's the primary reason, I guess, as to why coming off the year he was coming off?
Well, Ruben is big on that. Ruben Niebla, pitching coach, is just big on different directions, different planes, all the different quadrants that pitches go to. Yep. That I will be very honest that I understand half of what Ruben's talking about and no more. But that's the simple way to put it is this pitch breaks, not a lot, but it moves in, it runs into a right-hander. And so you've got his sort of rising, quote unquote, rising four seam at 98. And you've got this sinker that does like a run in at 96, 97. And you've got his slider that breaks away from righties. I'm talking about right-handers here. And it's like, wow, cool. He threw some changeups the other day too that looked pretty good. And there's a guy who, like, his changeup last year was like this, like one of us throwing it, right? It was kind of funny, like this incredibly talented professional pitcher throwing this like slow arm changeup, and it's actually turning into something. Some of the other pitchers were like, wow, that's what it did. Wow, because no one was in Goodyear, but they saw it the next day and they saw the reports on it, and so like they were real happy with what Dylan did.
Robert Suarez gave up, I think, 4 runs the other day, walked 3. He had a scoreless outing his first outing there. Well, you know, one of the biggest talking points with Robert Suarez at the end of the season was this guy needs to develop a second pitch. And, you know, he was really good in the postseason, albeit a couple outings. But at the end of the year, his fastball was getting hit. And well, where's he at in his, I guess, second pitch development this spring? And moving forward, is he going to be the closer on opening day, or is this going to fluctuate with him and Jason Adam, or maybe even Jeremiah Estrada?
Oh, lots in there, Jim.
I know. Listen,
I was with you. Like it's the first thing I looked at yesterday. What wasn't working, and it kind of was everything. Yes, he did liberally sprinkle in the changeup yesterday, right? He's also got this cutter. I haven't seen that much. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen it much this spring. So yeah, that's a thing where you got to keep people off the fastball. It's that fastball's good enough. He can get away with throwing it 17 times in one game if he has to, or more preferably for them, like 8 times out of 8 pitches in a game if he can get away with it. But yes, has to be working on those. Obviously, the results yesterday not so great. Look, I mean, I don't know what to read into that. I really don't. Comes in the 3rd inning, right? Because regulars are still in, and you know. Who knows what was going on there? We'll have to keep an eye on that, but it's definitely valid questions. And your question about the closer, emphatically, he's the closer. Now, Estrada and Adam can be closers. Estrada and Adam will close games this year because Robert Suarez, the workhorse of all closers last year in Major League Baseball, like 4 outs, 5 outs. 3 days in a row, no days rest. Like the guy worked more than any other closer by several measures. Do they want to do that to him again? Don't know. Even if they do, you still have to give some, there's going to be other times. And so the Padres have that luxury. They have that luxury, which is another reason why you sometimes still hear, maybe Robert Suarez's name out there among others as a trade candidate. But Suarez is your closer.
It's interesting, Kevin Acee, our Padres insider. I mean, if you're trying to free up money and you look around the roster, that's a good spot to look at because of the fact that they have depth in the back of their bullpen. But then again, I mean, Robert Suarez, it's a tough conversation. I could understand trying to move him to get something back and free up money. I could understand trying to keep him because he's a very reliable closer for the Padres. Now, speaking of bullpen, what about Brian Hoeing? He was really good last year. I think you reported yesterday he's expected to miss some time to start the year, right?
Yeah, probably. Well, I shouldn't say probably. It's possible a month. They're slow playing it. They say, and it's all at this point, that's all I got from, multiple people. They say that there's not a big concern. And this does line up to be one of those types of things that it's valid at this point in the year. You're like, you're pushing for opening day, but hey, whoa, let's remember, after the first month, there's 5 months of the season, and those are very important as well. So that's what this is lining up to be. It's a shoulder issue. Not exactly sure what it is, but imaging clean by all accounts, and that he'll be back in maybe in May sometime, and that a lot of times you end up looking back at the end of the season and it was so good or whatever, you forget that the guy missed the first month, and that could be what happens here with Brian Hoeing.
That's a good point.
Look, time's running out for him to be ready in April.
Kevin, what do you do on an off day in Peoria?
Talk to us.
Got a little workout in, and I have been sitting here writing in the kitchen of the Airbnb. Just sitting here writing. Wrote a Tyler Wade story. I recommend it. I think Tyler Wade's fascinating. He is your favorite Padres' favorite Padre, probably.
Oh.
The dude is just like he has replaced Profar as that glue guy. And now, as much as I love Tyler Wade and other people do, I'm not saying he's going to replace Profar, with an 820 OPS. But I found it fascinating enough. And really, I mean, come on, you guys had to be shocked that it took me this long to get to what was for most of the offseason their big signing.
I know. They spent $900,000 on him.
I know.
And that was like the only signing for 6 months. Here's my question before you go. What do players do on average in Peoria on an off day? Do you have any feel for what are they doing today?
Golf, naps.
Yeah.
That like just hanging out. This is not you can't call spring training a grind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the season, but it is like this slow burn day after day after day.
Yeah.
So video games, rest, some golf, most wives/girlfriends are in town. I would even suspect that had Manny not gone back, Manny might have, caught a flight home for a couple of days, right? But of course, his wife and son are here. But that kind of thing sometimes happens where a guy will go home more often when there's a night game afterward, and there's not. There's a day game tomorrow. There's the next one though. There's a night game after.
Gotcha.
So that gives you like a day and a half off.
Kevin, always appreciate it. Enjoy writing, which is what you do for a living, and we'll catch up with you on Wednesday.
Right on. Take care.
All right, Kevin Acee, our Padres insider in Peoria. Now, on the other side of a break, we will give away a pair of tickets for LCD Sound System. Do you know who they are?
They're a band.
I believe that's correct. We have a pair of tickets to see them, Gallagher Square, Petco Park, Saturday, March 8th, a.k.a. this Saturday, a.k.a. my son's birthday. For tickets and info, go to Ticketmaster.com. We have LCD Sound System tickets we'll give away on the other side, reacting to a busy sports weekend. San Diego State over Wyoming, SDFC and St. Louis City. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
right, Aztecs basketball tomorrow night in Vegas against UNLV with pregame coverage at 7. Ted Leitner's got the tip at 8. You're home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. This is the penultimate regular season game for Ted. That means Jim second to last. Hi, Jim.
Oh, hi. What am I, Jones?
I'm kidding.
Hi, Jim.
It's a weird word. Well, penultimate is the weirdest word. Second to last.
I know what penultimate means.
I know it's stupid. I like saying it, but it's why even say it? Just say second to last. Right.
Sure.
Anyway, if you want to hear Ted calling Aztec basketball, you can hear him tomorrow night at 8 p.m. and then senior night against Nevada at 7:30.
I was thinking of going Saturday.
No, you're not. Are you serious? Or are you just
I'm serious.
Pulling legs?
No, I'm serious.
Well, what do you mean thinking? I mean, if you want to go, you send an email to Richard, CC me. Could probably get you and Aaron tickets. Your wife?
Oh, yeah, her.
Not like Aaron, like some random dude, like Aaron, your wife. Saturday night, 7:30, senior night.
If I go,
and here's the thing, I don't think I want you there. Okay, here's the deal. If they win tomorrow night, I'll let you in the building.
Okay.
But if they lose, there's too much pressure because then they got to win Saturday.
Okay.
So let's wait to see what happens tomorrow night.
Okay.
If they win tomorrow night, you can go.
Okay.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I like that. But if they lose tomorrow night,
then I don't think we can risk it. Because then it's like they got to win Saturday, and I feel like there's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, but I feel like if they win tomorrow night, then it's still,
just as much pressure.
Yeah.
But I feel, maybe. I feel like if they win tomorrow night, you can go.
Look, I'll talk to my people and have my people talk to your people.
Right.
AKA, I'll ask Erin if she wants to go.
Yeah, if she wants to go.
And
has Erin ever been to an Aztec basketball
That's
game?
a good question.
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no, too. I don't think she has.
So she probably doesn't understand like what that is because unless you go, I tell people all the time, I go to like Orange Theory and they're like, oh yeah, were you working at Aztec? I'm like, I was. I'm like, have you ever been? They're like, no. I'm like, you're missing out.
I thought you were going to say, yeah, I've been to Orange Theory. What is that? It's like a gym. It's where you work out.
I don't really work out there that hard, but I talk to people about the Aztecs.
So you just go and talk to people and then you're like, man, that was a great workout.
Dude, Jim was telling me this weekend he worked out for the first time in a year because you're going to Hawaii as if you're going to go get buff between now and when you go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
You're going in April, right?
Going in May.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. You're going in May to Hawaii?
I'm very sure. I'm going at the end of May.
I thought you were going in April.
Well, considering the fact that our 1 year anniversary of our wedding is in May, I'm going in May. It's not April.
Well, does it have to line up with the 1 year?
It doesn't,
because it's kind of like a honeymoon, I thought.
Yeah, we never officially went on an actual honeymoon. Yeah, we went to Switzerland and Italy, but we were with friends and it was for someone else's wedding.
Right. So you're going in May.
We are going in May to Hawaii. Have fun that week.
Where are you going? I mean, there's multiple islands.
We are going to Maui and Honolulu.
Is Honolulu an island? I think.
Wait, no.
Honolulu is a city.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What island? Is that the Big Island?
The Big Island. The Big Island. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Because my mom, very nice lady.
Okay. I like to qualify. Yeah, she's your mom. Yes.
For one of our wedding presents is she booked us, got us rooms in Hawaii. So she has the timeshares points, and so we got all our timeshare points for the next 2 years, and we got to use them in Hawaii.
How did we get here? What was the purpose? What was I saying?
I don't know.
Are you going to go on Saturday to see the Aztecs with Aaron? Yeah. I think Aaron would like it a lot. And I would never blame Aaron if they lost, but I would blame you.
So I'm taking Aaron for cover.
And then you would send out a picture before the game started, and then everyone would reply if they didn't play well, leave.
It's my fault.
Yeah. Right. All that.
I'm here. I made it.
You're prepared to do that Saturday night?
I am prepared.
What's the chat say about having you? Nobody seems to.
Rich McGuire says, "Don't worry, Jim. Nevada sucks."
Well, everyone relax. It's college basketball. I mean,
don't talk to John over here.
No, man. I freak out about everything, including tomorrow night, San Diego State.
Sometimes
UNLV.
John's premonitions are valid.
Right? All these games are close, are they not?
When you were scared of Wyoming over the weekend,
I was dead on, right? Spot on.
You were spot on.
If you watch this entire game and some of our listeners did, and some of you were at SDFC, or some of you had a Saturday night plan. But like this thing was like tough.
Yeah,
like it was very losable, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like a close game.
Every time that I checked in while I was at Snapdragon, it was
a game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they were trailing for a good portion of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I think they might have trailed by 5 or 6 in the second half, but they came back to win the game. So okay, let's see what happens tomorrow night, and then we'll decide if Aaron's always allowed to go. It's if Jim is allowed to go or not.
Yeah, she wants to go. She wanted to go to the SDFC match on Saturday. But, I said sorry.
What do you mean? Why didn't she go?
Because I didn't get tickets.
Would you have money?
I do have money, yeah, but she didn't want to sit alone, John.
You could have sat with her.
Yeah, but I was doing stuff.
Yeah, you sent up. Did you bring like a spare battery for your phone or something? Or you just kept charging?
It's called a charger.
Well, I didn't know because you were bouncing around.
Well, it's cool. So in the press box, they have these things called like outlets, and what you do is you take a charger for an iPhone, and there's a part of the charger cable where you can stick it into an outlet, and there's this thing called electricity.
Show me how it works.
And the electricity charges the phone. So when I have that all there, I can charge my cellular device.
Let's talk more about Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium on the other side. We promise you tickets, though, to see LCD Sound System. The first caller is going. This is for Saturday at Gallagher Square, Petco Park. Here's the number to call. 877-767-4760. Call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see LCD Sound System this Saturday, Gallagher Square, Petco Park. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. 877-767-4760. More on the home debut for SDFC on the other side, plus Jim's back page coming up right here on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Jamul Casino. San Diego State takes on UNLV tomorrow night in Las Vegas. Tip time is at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. pregame. Listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. San Diego Football Club's next match will be against Salt Lake this Saturday night on the road. 6:30 start time, 6 p.m. pregame on Jammin' 95.7 because, of course, we have Aztecs basketball here on San Diego Sports 760 during the game. And NFL news of the day, 6-time Pro Bowler Darius Slay has been released from the Eagles. And the Bengals have franchise tagged T. Higgins for a second year in a row. Hey, players, things are about to get real here in San Diego with the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. Gorgeous boutique rooms and suites, exciting new eats and drinks, and rooftop pool. It gets real this summer at Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place.
All right, first of all, normally I say you're an idiot, we're an idiot. So we're talking about where Honolulu, first of all, you're like, yeah, I'm going to Maui and Honolulu. And I'm like, Honolulu's not an island.
I don't know.
And then we start talking through it. We're like, the big island. It's not the big island.
What is it then?
Oahu.
Oh. I don't know my islands.
You've never been to Hawaii, right?
I've never been, not once.
Yeah, you don't know. How would you know your islands? You don't even know, like, states.
Yeah, it's going to be a
How
problem.
are you going to know islands?
Yeah.
Do you know the capitals of the states? Like all 50 of them?
Oh, that's a no-go for me.
Do you know the capital of California?
I do.
It is?
Los Angeles.
Shut up.
Sacramento.
For a second, I thought you were serious. But
like, excuse me?
I just Googled it because we have a listener that said, "Come, are you serious? Honolulu on the Big Island?" I don't know. I'm not good. I'm not good with that. I'm not a geography guy, and you're the worst at geography.
I don't even... Yes, I'm awful at it.
But again, it's not our job. It's like you get on the plane, they take you there. We're not like, hey, make a left.
Make a left up here.
Pacific.
Yeah.
Make sure to land at the right island. But I could see you getting on a plane.
I'm not telling pilots anything to do on flights nowadays.
I mean, what you were previously?
Never I'm doing that.
Right.
Like, hey, can you
just get us there? Just
throttle it up a little bit, please?
Just get us there, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so SDFC on Saturday night. Jim is there. 34,000 others are there. Some of our listeners, I'm sure, were there as well. Now, this is just night one. I mean, there's going to be 16 more regular season matches this year. They'll have friendlies, maybe the postseason this year as well. And would you say from being there that, like, exceeded the hype, lived up to the hype? Like, what was the part of it that you'll most remember? Because at the end of the match, no goals, right?
Yeah.
But 34,000 plus San Diegans, the first time SDFC ever takes the field here at Snapdragon Stadium. Like, how will you remember that?
That was the damper on the night for me personally. I know there's other things that went into or happened during that match, like Chucky getting injured and the derogatory chants at the end of the match. For me, yes, the Chucky injury sucks, but I just wanted to see a goal. Because the crowd, the entire night
was just waiting to erupt.
Dude, you felt it.
Yeah,
you felt it.
And now you got to wait 2 weeks for the first ever home goal.
I did truly think that it lived up to expectations. I thought that the fans were incredible. I thought the supporter groups were incredible. I went down to see how it was as the match started, and it was wild. I thought the pregame ceremony was great. Manny Machado showing up. The whole crowd lost it when Manny came out. The fireworks display. The field looked incredible. I thought the atmosphere when walking around the stadium was fantastic. The only thing that was missing was that one moment in the match where the crowd could just unleash.
But here's the thing, that's what you love and hate about sports in general. I'll give you the example. I mean, game 4 at Petco.
Right. Everyone was already
expecting
crazy.
A celebration. Guess what? They didn't score that night either.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know. Or you go to a senior night. I was there last night. This is why I don't want you there Saturday. I was there last year, and the only home loss was in overtime on senior night to Boise State when Max Rice banked in a 50-foot three.
Right.
So, like, that's the thing. The beauty of it is sometimes you get to a stadium or a game and everything works perfectly. Your team wins the Super Bowl.
Like
Your
Sunday
team goes
night
to the World Series
for SDFC, the Super Bowl for
yeah,
the Eagles.
exactly, like LA Galaxy. You're exactly right. When they go up there and they win 2-0, but there are no guarantees. That honestly is what I like about it. Now, did I expect a goal to be scored last week? And I did. I did because they scored 2 the weekend before, so I just expected at home they would. But it doesn't always work the way you expect it to. And it could have been worse, by the way. And we talked about this last week. Like, would you prefer a 3-2 loss to a scoreless draw? I'll take the point, man. I get it. Like, is it the most exciting thing in the world? Maybe not. But if you want to see them have a nice season, I'd prefer that they get a point out of it as opposed to no points in a loss with more goals.
Yeah, and for me, I am still obviously learning the game. I'm all in as far as San Diego FC goes. I think that they have done a really good job building this community. I think just being in a stadium with that much excitement you could feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's sports. You never can script sports. That's what makes sports so good. You can never if I were to script it, they would have scored a goal in the 90th minute of the match to win 1-0.
That would be sweet.
Or they would have
scored extra time.
Or they would have scored a goal in the first 5 minutes of the match when everybody was, hyped from Manny being out there and the firework display. And what I thought was really cool is the national anthem was sung by the supporter groups, not like an actual artist or musician or whatever. So
I'm saying, like, think about this. There's been other debuts in the history of this league. I promise you this.
And there's been,
and you're down 4-0.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that's happened. Or it's like you go to the home opener for the Padres. It's played out before, and they're down 9 runs.
Right.
That's so. Again, I don't know what to make of it other than this. I think they've had a really good franchise start with Galaxy result, with the scene Saturday, and now it's just like build off of it. There's so much more still to come, and they're going to play back at home in a couple of weeks. And it's amazing how, they're going to play basically all year long. It starts in February. It ends in
never stops.
October.
Yeah.
The regular season. So they're going to play all year long.
Like a 3-month off season.
I think if they make the postseason, it's less than that. I think they said during that LA Galaxy match that the Galaxy celebrated their title like 70 days ago.
Yeah.
That's less than 3 months.
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah. So I think all in all, you can't ask for more than what the first couple of weeks have been for San Diego FC.
But, knowing the history of sports here in San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
Just what can go wrong does go wrong.
The Chucky Lozano thing does suck.
Like, everything up to the 28th minute of that match
was great.
Was awesome.
Is this the equivalent of Manny going down in like 5 games into the year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, right? Now, again, it's not like nobody's saying Chucky Lozano is missing the year. It could be like I have no idea what it could be, right?
But this is an injury that, and I don't know if it's the exact same injury, but he did suffer a hamstring injury last year for his team, and he was amazing in the first 4 matches. And then he got hurt and he missed 2 months. Well, no, he missed longer than that. 81 days? That's about 2 months. No, a little over 2 months.
Months aren't 40 days.
I know.
Yeah, it's like 2 months and 20 days.
Yeah, so a little over 2 months, almost 3 months.
Yep.
And then when he came back, he wasn't the same player. So you're sitting there being like, all right, the star player for the team who they brought in, they made a big deal about, they had a huge event for Chucky. He gets hurt in the first home match of the year.
Right.
The team, it's a scoreless match. Now you pick up a point, okay. And then the chance at the end of the game kind of like muddying the vibe of the game a little, a little bit to some people, really a lot to another. Personally to me, again, I'm talking to Darren and Jake today, like, it's a big deal in the soccer community, but other people that don't know the history of it aren't going to view it like that.
No, it's not that it's not like, I wouldn't condone it, but to me, it doesn't take away from debuting a franchise. And by the way, I don't like letting I don't even know if it is bad apples, but I don't like letting something like that mar anything. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is not something that negates launching a franchise and playing in front of 35,000 people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't cancel it out.
It didn't for me. I think some people and a lot of people, and for very good reason, everyone has their own reasons for things. And for people that viewed it and think it's offensive, which I mean it is if how you have it. It's they were very upset by it.
No, it can. I'm not saying it's not offensive. That's not the point. I'm saying that to me, just because that occurred doesn't take away from their debut.
Yeah,
like that's not to me the storyline. Like, oh, remember SDFC's debut? Man, that was marred and contra. I don't think it'll be remembered like that.
I don't think so either. Just because it happened, like Darren said, when LAFC started up in LA, has that marred their franchise?
No, I didn't even know that had occurred.
Right. So, I'm with you there. If this is something that has happened previously, then okay. If this was something that never happened before in the sport, that'd be different.
Mm-hmm.
But it has happened multiple times in the sport, and it's something that needs to be taken out.
Yeah, and again, I'm just saying that, okay, if I'm launching a franchise, maybe I'd prefer not to have that be part of the story, but I think overall, it's been a pretty impressive debut overall,
dude,
for SDFC.
If you ask somebody in San Diego Football Club's organization after the first 2 matches, would you sign up for 4 points? I think they would absolutely say yes.
How could you not?
Yeah.
How could you not?
Yeah.
Okay. On the other side, we will get to Jim's back page.
John Cena.
John Cena is Jim's back page.
Well, I mean, we've talked a lot about John Cena today.
We really have
more than you would like.
I don't
talk
really
about
care.
John
I mean,
Cena.
I don't care. You can have John Cena. It could be John and Jim with John Cena for all I care.
How about John Cena and Jim?
I do like that. All right. So Jim's back page. On the other side, we have Houston and Kansas basketball coming up at 6 p.m. It's John and Jim.
All right, AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. Hi, Jim. I feel like
Hi.
What's on the show? We have a lot.
What's on the show today?
We have a lot on the show this week. I do know that.
I was going to say, what's on the show today, John?
No, but I'm thinking about tomorrow because I feel like I booked something, but I just don't know what it is. Maybe a bracketologist. How about that? It's a good reason to maybe switch stations. No, once a week, it's not a big deal.
Why are you telling people to do that? What's wrong with you?
Because I feel like I get a bad rap for bringing a bracketologist on once a week.
I mean, you kind of do.
No, it's completely appropriate to have a bracketologist once a week.
Who says that besides you?
I just know in my heart of hearts it's appropriate. In February and March, you can have a bracketologist on.
Fine.
I mean, you can get a WWE guest. Get Vince McMahon on tomorrow.
If I got Vince McMahon on tomorrow, that would make news. That would definitely make news.
Get John Cena.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, John.
Get whatever Rock's first name is, John Rock on the show.
John Rock.
Get whoever you want.
His name is Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, get Tony Schiavone. I'll call him. He used to work in minor league baseball. Get Tony Schiavone on. Does he still do it?
We want to talk about an actual wrestling company, not AEW.
Oh, is that who he works for?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Am I right, Brent?
Yes and no. They are an actual wrestling company.
I know they are, but I'm joking.
So you don't want to talk to him?
No, unless he wants to talk about something that's not AEW.
Let's get to it.
Yeah, that'd be like getting an ESPN guy to come on and talk about FS1.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Wingstop, John, is celebrating the launch of its new crispier
Okay. Crispier or crispier?
Crispier.
Okay.
Not crisper.
Crispier what?
Chicken
Wings?
tenders.
Okay.
By giving away 1 million tenders for free. Fans can claim theirs at wingstop.com/million tender giveaway while supplies last. Unlike basic chicken strips, John, Wingstop's crispy tenders are hand sauced and tossed in 12 bold flavors, including hot honey rub, OG hot, and lemon pepper, and paired with the brand's famous ranch for the ultimate flavor experience.
Those are going to be real crisper.
They're going to be really crisper. For those wanting more, Wingstop 3-piece tender combo comes with fries, a drink, and ranch for just $9.99. While the flavor feast bundle offers wings, tenders, fries, and dips for $23.99.
Are you a Wingstop guy?
Dude, Wingstop's good, man.
Yeah,
That's why I'm asking. I see them all over the place. I just don't know.
I like me some Wingstop.
They have any like organic wings?
Shut up.
I'm serious. Like,
stop it.
Plant-based.
Stop it.
I think you can get like the cauliflower type stuff.
Oh, I'm in. Maybe.
I just think it's funny because the Wingstop by my house is right next door to a vegan place.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
It's like John's dream.
I'm looking right now, but yeah, I like Wingstop if I eat chicken.
Do you like Twix?
Which one are those?
It's the cookie bar, like chocolate. We have them in our machine here.
Twix, yeah.
Twix. You know Twix.
I mean, I know Twix.
Yeah.
Oh, these things are great.
They're
These are
amazing.
unbelievable.
They're
Are you
awesome.
serious?
Yeah, of course.
Now, is it a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup? I don't think it is.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are elite.
The 1 seed.
That's the 1
Yeah,
seed.
but this is a top
Twix
3
is a
seed.
top
Peanut butter
4.
Twix is good.
No, I mean, I'm not saying it's not.
Well, Twix is introducing a snickerdoodle flavor variant,
Okay.
adding to its lineup of cookie-inspired confections. This new offering features a snickerdoodle flavored cookie base, though the overall structure remains consistent with the classic Twix bar. You excited about that?
No, I'm at the Wingstop menu right now. Stuff looks good.
The official release date for Snickerdoodle Twix has not been confirmed, but it is expected to be available in stores nationwide very, very soon.
Okay.
Did you watch the Oscars?
The Oscars? No, how were they?
Did you watch the Oscars last night?
No, I had them on for a few minutes, but I wasn't into it really.
Did you watch the Oscars, Brent?
No, I can't get into award shows anymore.
Well, here are the winners for the top awards at the Oscars. All right.
Who won the album of the year?
It's all movies that I've never even seen anymore.
That's where I was going to go with this after I read the winners. Best supporting actor, Kieran Culkin, great actor, love him. If you don't know him,
Kieran.
What did I say?
Kieran.
CRISPR.
Kieran.
CRISPR Culkin.
What's the guy's name?
CRISPR Culkin.
Kieran Culkin.
Kieran Culkin. He is amazing in Succession. Amazing.
He's even better in Succession.
What's going on right now?
I don't know, man.
Am I having a stroke or something?
Yeah, maybe.
Do you smell toast?
I might be having a stroke.
Okay, so he won what?
Best supporting actor.
Okay.
Zoe Saldana won Best Supporting Actress in Emilia Perez.
Okay.
Best Actress. I think it was controversial just because
Okay.
Mickey Madison in Anora. I've never heard of her and I've never heard of the movie. Not saying it wasn't a good performance. For an award show as big as the Oscars, no offense again, to handing out awards to like complete unknowns, I don't think is good for the general audience. That's just me. Like, I want to see the biggest names in Hollywood get, nominated for these awards.
So you want the Dodgers to win the World Series every year?
Well, look, have you ever heard of Anora?
I haven't heard of Titanic.
That's true. Have you ever heard of Anora?
No, but I know who she is. She was in one of the Scream movies.
Right. By the way, the actress's name is not Mickey. It's Mikey.
Mikey Madison?
I think her name is spelled Mikey.
Mikey. Again, whatever. All right. Adrian Brody won for The Brutalist, Best Actor.
Never heard of it.
Okay. And then Anora won Best Picture.
Really?
Yeah. I can't get into it because, most of the time,
movies never heard
like
of.
10, 15 years ago, I'd be like, oh, I've at least seen a handful of these.
Yeah.
And now this year it's like, okay, I haven't seen Dune 2 yet, but that's like the only one out of the list that I've even heard of.
I've seen Dune 2. I've seen Wicked, and that's it. Of the 10 movies that were nominated for Best Picture, I only saw 2 of them. And really only 2 of the 10 were actually like big box office movies.
Right. Like this thing, I just looked this up, Anora. Like their budget, $6 million.
They made only
40 million.
Worldwide $40 million.
Yeah.
Wicked made almost $800 million, and Dude made I think $1 billion.
But again, their budget was nothing.
Okay,
and like literally nothing.
Yeah, it's like you're working with nothing.
It's
you
like
get an
the
Oscar.
A's.
It's like 7-6.
It's basically the A's get to the postseason.
I might go back and check out Conan's monologue.
It was good.
That's about the only thing I have any interest in. A lot of these award shows now, it's just like, I don't really care what a bunch of smug actors are going to get up and complain about during their speeches. And that's pretty much what award shows are these days.
The one movie that I do want to see is that Bob Dylan movie with Timothy Chalamet.
Go see it. Is it available to be seen?
Yes, it is.
What is it? It's like he plays Bob Dylan?
Yes.
Oh. How?
Did you know that Timothy Chalamet...
They put makeup on him and then he
Bob
pretends.
Dylan
It's called
was like
acting.
Timothy Chalamet is dating Kylie Jenner?
Yeah, Kristen told me that. I'm like, what?
Okay.
Right?
Good for him.
Who else has he been dating?
I don't know, but good for him.
This guy's... I was going to say... Okay. He's very
popular.
He's very popular.
Yeah,
right.
Apparently, he's popular.
Very popular.
Yeah.
All right, we're back tomorrow at 2 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. If you missed anything today, make sure to check out the iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. If you're listening to us on the app, put us in your presets, Jon and Jim and San Diego Sports 760. All right, Houston and Kansas on the other side. I'll be watching tonight. I'll probably be listening on my ride home. For Brent and Jim, I'm Jon. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.
Okay, CRISPR.